Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome in here on a Tuesday, everybody, and this is technically our last show of the year. How about that, of the calendar year? Happy New Year to everyone, and tomorrow will be fun-filled football all over the place, and obviously Thursday the same thing with the college football playoffs and everything else. But right around here, we got Jags fever. What a crowd we had last night at Jags Report Live. We're excited about that, and Cam Little is awesome. I get so many comments about Cam Little when he's on the show, and definitely one of our favorites. Can't deny it. He is a lot of fun to be around, and about as normal as you can get as an athlete, and a very good one at that for the Jags. So we might hear from Cam. I thought he said something really cool about Trevor Lawrence last night on the show, and then we'll be pushing some of that stuff out on social media too, because he had a lot of cool things to say, and we had a great crowd. So we appreciate the crowds keep coming out. A few things to get to here at the top of the show, and glad to have everybody with us here on a Tuesday. One is tonight we have Jaguars All Access at Strings in Springfield. Again, it's a Tuesday edition because of the holiday, but it goes back to Springfield. Last week it was in Jax Beach. So Springfield tonight, we'll have Buster Brown, Monteric Buster Brown, and Greg Newsome on the show. So two players, 7 o'clock Jaguars All Access live on Fox 30 and on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. But I'd love to see you out there if you can make it out to Strings in Springfield for that. Here on the show today, Austin will be joining us in just a few minutes. We are taking the show all the way until 1 o'clock. We have a special 1 hour at noon where we're doing a year in review with Hamby and I. And I'll be here until about 11:30. Then I got to hustle down to Jags because I'm doing a sit-down with Grant Udinsky and Anthony Campanile for some of our playoff coverage that is coming up. So we've got a lot of different things going on. Say hello to Chandler Dantzler. He's pushing the buttons. Hamby's out of here on this Tuesday. So we got a lot of moving parts, but we are still having some fun, of course, on this Jags fever at the end of 2025, now turning into 2026 on the Brent and Austin Show and the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. All right, a couple of other things to get to, and at least from a headline standpoint, no finalists for Fred Taylor on the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is what I said is just a crime that he's not in the top 15. And so got a couple of guys jockeyed around this year on that list. And there you see the list. And I'm not a big proponent of being like, this guy doesn't deserve to be and this guy doesn't deserve. You can take that task if you want. I don't really like to go there. I'm not telling you these guys aren't deserving. We just know that Fred is deserving, and I don't think this is going to sit well with Jags fans. I know everybody loves Fred. I know it won't sit well with Fred. I think he's get a little more peace about this whole process than even he's had maybe in the past. But again, that doesn't matter. You'd love to get him in, and right now it's not going to happen here. And I'm not saying he was going to get in, but you want to keep knocking on that finalist door to be able to eventually get in. And I don't know what that looks like. To be honest with you, we've done one of our storytellers of the 904 we had this summer that we play periodically. We're actually going to play that with Sam Kavaris coming up tomorrow and on Thursday. And you can always see him on YouTube. But and maybe we'll push this out this week with the whole Fred news here today. But like he talks about the process because he's got the Hall of Fame vote for Jacksonville. And so he makes these pitches. And he takes us behind the scenes, and specifically of Baselli getting in, but also when I asked him a little bit about, will Fred get in? And he gives us some good insight there. So maybe we'll push that out today, but you can go find it on YouTube. It's under a playlist, our Storytellers of the 904. And again, tomorrow, in place of our show, and also Thursday, we're actually running Sam and Dan Hickens' Storytellers of the 904. They're both 90 minutes each. So hopefully you can check it out here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network on actionsportsjax.com. Mr. Hugo says Buster might be top 10 corner in the league this year. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he stacks up amongst the league. I know he had a really good game again. I know he's become a very reliable player, and I love the journey because he's a 7th-round pick, and the Jags just don't have a lot of those guys over the years that you feel like have earned themselves into the contract conversation. They do have some now, and they actually have some in that secondary like a Dewey Wingard. But Buster has really grown quietly, I think, now into a player that everybody's noticing, and you want him around. I think that's a cool part of the story, and that's what draft and develop looks like. That's what's hitting on some of the late rounders look like. So that's a very nice thing. Other headlines to tell you about. Justin Herbert isn't going to play in that football game next week. So smartly, and I don't understand. I never understood, like, everybody's like, well, Harbaugh, he probably won't do that. It's like, is he an idiot? Like, why wouldn't he do that? Like, there's nothing to be gained, really, for the Chargers. They're going to lose the football game most likely anyway against Denver. Denver's playing for that number 1 seed. Why wouldn't you rest him? He's already banged up. It's not like you're resting him so he doesn't get hurt. You're resting him because he's already banged up. And he gets hit more than anybody else, I think, statistically in the league. So, makes total sense. And the bigger one might be, and we'll see, that there's some thought that Josh Allen, who also is banged up for the Buffalo Bills, will sit. And now you play Mitchell Trubisky, and you're playing the Jets, and the Jets really stink. Like, really are bad right now. But does that change potentially a win for the Jets? And if that were to happen, right now we think, if everything falls in place the way we would think it would, which is kind of silly in the NFL to think that way, but everybody's like a double-digit favorite, the Jags would play the Buffalo Bills here at home next week. If that scenario presents itself and the Jets do beat the Bills, the Chargers then, if they lose and everything else goes into play, would come to Jacksonville. And I think people would feel pretty good about that if the Chargers would have come to Jacksonville. I think if they could pick one of the teams, I think you'd probably take the Chargers. So that could be in play. Ironically, what's also, I think, kind of crazy is the Bills would then go to New England as the 7th seed. And there's some talk, I saw this nationally, and I found it pretty interesting, that if you're Buffalo, would you rather go to New England? Because you know them. And they actually brought up the weather. Like, you also know the weather is going to be a certain way, and you like playing in that. I think it was Willie Colon I saw saying, which just surprised me. Like, yeah, guys from up north don't want to go to Florida in January. They don't want to deal with that heat. They'd rather play in the cold. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. I mean, we're not talking crazy heat in Florida in January, at least according to us, but maybe for players, if it's 75 degrees, that would be like, holy cow. So I just thought that was an interesting deal, and it could really be fascinating because I know they do reseed, so we'll see how everything shakes out. But if the Jags were to win a first-round playoff game and Buffalo were to beat the Patriots, well, now the Jags are getting a home game for round number 2. And that could really happen this year. The way this is so wide open, if the Jags can win, even as a 3 seed, I don't think it's out of the question for them to host 3 games at home. I really don't. The way this league is set up this year, it's just been so crazy. I mean, would I be surprised to see the Patriots bounced in the first round and Denver lose in the second round? Not really. So there's a path for that kind of stuff to really shake out. So we will keep an eye on it and see what the league is doing this year. And good luck picking what's going to happen in Week 18 of the NFL. I think I said this to some degree yesterday, but I really think it might be harder to pick all 16 games of the Week 18 of the NFL season and get them right than it is to pick like the NCAA tournament bracket and win your $1 million bracket challenge. They should do a Week 18 NFL $1 million challenge. I think they could do it, and would be hard. I don't know if they give away that much money because somebody would probably get it. But it's hard to pick 16 teams that are going to win. And I think you could probably figure out some like AI formula to mathematically make yourself available. Only one entry into that. Maybe we'll do it. We'll do it, and you get like a hat. Everybody loves a hat. Now, would you really make the effort for a hat? I don't know. Maybe I got to do a hat and a shirt, something like that. But if you can pick all the winners of Week 18 in the NFL, you are doing something right. Daniel says, I like the post-show interview from Noah. Well, Chandler's a big part of that, too, by the way. Noah's in front of the camera. Chandler and Noah have been doing a great job. And Yeah, the little little bonus edition. Hopefully you like the show as well, Daniel.
A lot of fun. I mean, yesterday when Cam Little actually recognized, follows us on Instagram, and said, "Hey, I'm going to do one of those Q&As after the show."
That's right. That's pretty good that
cool.
that he knew that.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Not afraid to say it. I like that. Cam's a man, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's good. Everyone loves him. I've seen so many comments on Twitter. Cam was the best last night. Even some of my buddies, Cam's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, people are blown away by Cam Little, which is cool. But they really are blown away. I think a lot of things like how eloquent he is and everything else, very well spoken. He just turned 22 in August.
Crazy.
I mean, it's unbelievable how and he feels like, and I say this complimentary, he feels like a kid. Like there are so many. That's what I told somebody. You get Trevor, who's 25, 26 now, I guess. Josh Hines Allen, even when he's coming along, or Trayvon Walker, who's 25, just turned 25. These guys are very young. For me now, I mean, I literally could be their dad, which is kind of crazy. But they don't feel young. They are monsters of men, first of all, those guys that I mentioned. They are big people, which naturally you kind of feel older when you're like that physically big. But they're also been in the spotlight so much that they are mature to a point where they're almost hardened and feel Trevor acts like he's 35, right? And again, that's a compliment too. But I still say this in a very complimentary way about Cam Little, and I say it almost in a Travis Hunter kind of way. They're the same age, and they feel like it. They feel like, and I think that's cool. They feel like they're 22, and that's okay. But and I think that people like being around. That's a juice that those guys bring because of that. You don't always have to be. You're forced to grow up faster than that most people need to when you're in the spotlight. And they handle that spotlight very well, and it's just another day, which is pretty cool. So I love that about Cam, and we love having him on. The cool thing about having the kicker on, usually you think you're just going to talk about kicking. Cam's great talking about everything else. In fact, we'll play the Trevor Lawrence part, because what you're starting to see with Trevor is, especially the people that believed in Trevor and that locker room. This isn't about being wrong or right and the whole discourse thing, but this is, hey, we've always believed in this guy. But when you see him play in this way, there's just this admiration for Trevor, this respect for Trevor. And this was unsolicited by Cam Little. We were just talking about, I think, the drive of the day, and, Trevor ended up running that touchdown in, and he's the one that brought him up. And listen to the way the kicker talks about the quarterback. This is when the Jags take the lead. Okay. It was okay, you're moving, but it felt like getting over the hump, Cam, and actually take the lead on the scoreboard was a big deal.
Can we talk about how good 16 is, man?
Yeah.
Yes. That guy is so stinking talented,
yeah.
Dude. I mean, to see him take over football games is so cool to watch. And, we as a team harp on it all the time, but, give props to DJ on this drive, Parker, BT. But for 16 to kind of command it back there and to know we have a leader like him is so cool.
What I like about him yesterday, he took some shots, but he stood tall in the pocket, kept getting up.
Yeah.
The way he uses his legs, he's got 9 rushing touchdowns. Only Josh Allen, the Bills, has more. He has 12. He's accounted for how many, Brent? 35 touchdowns
35,
now?
two away from the Jags.
So, yes, he has taken this game to the level that has made us all extremely happy and proud.
I think, you see him and how hard he works. I've harped on this even last season, how hard that guy works, how much time he dedicates to film, to his receivers, to his, knowing what the looks look like, and putting time and effort into football, and to see it all pay off for him it's so cool, because I see everything outside of football, how much time he really does put into this sport, and to see it paying off and to see him kind of take that next step is so cool.
Dad, I just loved what he said there. Again, this wasn't prompting either, but to hear Cam Little talk that way about the quarterback, and again, I mean, I don't know how much they interact or whatever, throughout the day. But that is something. The reason why I bring it up is because you're starting to hear players say that. And that's been the last few weeks. And it started with Jacoby Myers when we had him on, and Jacoby will say stuff like, man, I could have caught that with my eyes closed. He just is dealing. When you hear those kind of things, that is confidence oozing in the quarterback. You hear the head coach talking that way right now, a lot about his quarterback. Like, this has not always been there, and of course Trevor's play hasn't always been there, but the inconsistencies from everything around him have seemingly always been there. This is such a good time, and I think this also empowers Trevor to get even better play and feel like, let's go, right? That is just a natural thing. If anybody at your workplace was saying that about you every time you walked in the building, you would feel just even more empowered to do more, right? So I think it's really neat and really cool, and we've obviously seen like this whole jump from Trevor in the last handful, 6 weeks, and everybody has around the country. But I think this is the stuff the nuanced stuff that really makes you kind of hit this another rung up the ladder as a player and going forward. So this is beyond this year. I think this is the kind of confidence that now exists and happiness really for him from a guy like Cam Little and other players that we're starting to hear this from. And speaking of the head coach, this was there were a couple of really interesting things yesterday during our show when Liam was talking to the media, and one of them was about Trevor, and he was asked about the blitz and why people keep blitzing, because if you look at the numbers, the success rate, it was a little shout out from Mia, by the way, for Daniel Griffiths, who came up with some numbers on the success rate against the blitz for Trevor, and he's been good. So basically, Liam was asked, are you surprised why teams continue to do it if the numbers look pretty good against the blitz? Here's the coach on the quarterback.
I don't excuse me, I don't really know. I really appreciate Grant and Spence and Shane, all these guys, their attention to detail when it comes to our blitz plan and the amount of different ways that we were able to kind of beat the blitz yesterday. I thought you look at the second play of the game, that was a check to TJ on that drive, the outcut to Parker, that was a check. The run to DJ Dallas, that was a check. Those were all what we call toolbox plays, and those aren't in the play call. Like, those were not in the play call. That is Trevor using the toolbox that he has at his disposal each week based on the look that he's being presented and getting us into those plays. So that's preparation. It's, obviously those guys schematically having that plan and coming up with that plan and then giving him those looks throughout the week so that he's prepared for those looks and those moments and going out and executing it at a high level. So I was very proud of the way that Trevor handled the blitz, the way that we were prepared for the pressure. We knew they were going to junk it up more. But as a play caller, it gets hard because you're like, oh, well, we just beat the blitz 3-4 times. I'm thinking it's going to stop, but then it doesn't. And so you're like, well, all right, well, guess we're going to keep doing it. So I thought they handled it really well.
There are so many things that I love about that soundbite. I'm going to give you 4 of them, and I hope I remember all 4 of them. So I'll say them quick, and then maybe I can get back to them. So listen, Chandler, in case I forget one. One is obviously the confidence and ownership of Trevor Lawrence in the offense. 2 is the fact that I love how he presents it, Liam does there, where he says, those were not in the play call. And he kind of like pauses and looks at like everybody in the Zoom call like, did you hear what I said? Like, I didn't call that play. And yet he got to it. Like, he was impressed. To me, that's a sign of that. The other thing is the preparation. Yeah, that's Trevor, but that's coaching. We are seeing coaching. We think we're seeing coaching. We are seeing development. These are real coaching things. And I've noted over the last couple of weeks about how many times people have referenced film study when making big plays. Like, these coaches are really doing their job. And I knew I was going to forget my 4th one. There was something right at the end that I kind of liked. Oh, that was the other one was like a vulnerability of Liam. To be able to be like, listen, even as a play caller, like, they're going to stop blitzing. But They don't. So he's showing you some vulnerability and taking you in the sideline in his head of like, okay, I think this chess match, it's about to shift because we're beating it. And then they just keep blitzing. And it's like, dang, okay. He's going to have to figure, I can't do this for him. He's going to have to figure it out. So he really takes you deep, which is just, I mean, again, it's another Liam Coen press conference where we can sit here and rave about Liam and how good he is at the press conference. What you really should be doing is just watching the press conferences to learn about football and learn how this stuff and the nuanced stuff really works, because it'll take you behind the curtain to it, which I'm just so appreciative of. And not as really a media member, more as just, you know, for fans and other people that, or maybe a guy who hosts a 3-hour show every day, that we can dissect some of these things and have some color around it and not just be guessing. So once again, I mean, I thought he nailed that. But back to those 4 things from that soundbite, the ownership of Trevor, of the whole toolbox thing and getting to these plays. He mentioned the play that I thought was a huge play in the football game. I thought the DJ Dallas play showed a lot to me. I thought it showed a lot from Trevor. I showed a lot from their preparation. It showed a lot from DJ Dallas, a guy who'd been there for like 12 days, to be able to get that. It was late in the clock. They obviously diagnosed an ability to run the ball. He cans to that run. He moves him around, I think, from the left side to the right side, gets the snap off very late. And I know some people be like, what else is new? But very late. And then DJ Dallas breaks off a 17-yard run, which they would have been set up, I think, if that doesn't go anywhere, if the play doesn't work, for a big 3rd down, I think it would have been. Well, they end up cashing that drive in because they hit Parker Washington later on, and then Trevor runs it in. That's your go-ahead drive at the time to make it 14-10. So I thought that was just really a significant run play. But what we learn is, that wasn't the play call. That was Trevor getting to that because of the look on his own. That didn't even come through his headset. So I think that shows you where Trevor's confidence is at. But it also echoes, even before Trevor was playing great football, I think almost every week Liam would say, listen, he's getting us into the right plays. He's getting us into the right stuff. And I think it is another example of that, which, you know, it's harder to highlight in the early stages when things are clunky and you're getting penalties and you're not, you know, throwing for 4 touchdowns and all those other things. So I think you're seeing the growth and I guess the smarts of Trevor Lawrence too, because I don't think anybody's ever questioned, like, is he a dumb guy or anything like that? I think there's a lot on his plate. My wife said this to me the other day, and welcome in Austen Lane. I think she said to me, she's like, you know, I'm starting to really appreciate, after listening to Liam's news conferences and watching Trevor, how much he has to do at the line of scrimmage. You know? Yeah. And like, it's just, but I think a little bit of that is Liam's education and being willing to share of what's going on in this offense, and then also seeing Trevor. And I think a lot of the national guys have really started to point out what he's doing at the line of scrimmage. Forget about the throws and everything after the fact, but it's really what he's doing before the snap and showing the command of the offense.
It's command of the offense. Am I on?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. It's command of the offense, and it's also putting trust. I don't know what's going on. And it's putting trust in his receivers as well. I mean, a classic example yesterday was Brent Strange in terms of getting to run like the tight end option routes now. Like this is a guy who, you know, came in replacing Evan Ingram, and it was like, okay, can he take over the mantle of Evan Ingram? And not only has he been a much better run blocker, but also I think a much better receiver as well. And it shows you now that Liam Coen not only trusts Trevor Lawrence, but he's trusting his wide receivers and his playmakers and his tight ends, because now Brenton Strange is getting the keys to the offense as well, where it's like, hey, whatever you see in zone coverage, whether it's a go route, whether it's a hook and in, we'll let you run that. Trevor's got trust in you, and we'll go from there. Like, you're seeing an offense that is now evolving to, hey, I trust this guy. I trust this guy. I trust this guy. And it's paying dividends.
Yeah, that's a great call. I didn't even think about it from the receiver standpoint, right? And that listen, that's been the word of the discourse for me on Trevor for 4 years. It's what does he trust? And it's not like a vocal trust. It's like a subconscious trust of being able to be like, I know this guy's going to be there. Now, listen, they still mess up some plays. I mean, they obviously had the busted second down play. The play over to third down and whatever to Jacoby Myers, him and Brenton Strange ran the same exact route. They were like right next to each other. And I don't know how many times that happens in a game for other players. Last week I asked Liam, I was like, the Parker Washington play, Parker, I think, said on our show last week that they got two different plays.
Well,
him and Myers.
Yeah, ETN messed up the play where it was like supposed to be a handoff, and then Trevor boots out, and there's nobody running routes with Brian Thomas Jr. because he's blocking.
That's right.
And then Trevor gets sacked, and then I think he gets sacked. Does he get
did.
sacked?
He took a sack. Yeah,
he took a sack, and then because of that, then that's when DJ Dallas came in.
Yes.
So that they said ETN a little bit.
Yeah. So, but I don't know how often that does happen for other teams. It feels like that's where you get the whole Liam kind of smirking and saying, yeah, we don't always make it look pretty. Like that's what he was laughing about earlier in the year, where it's like, yeah, I don't understand why we can't just line up and run the damn play, but we can't, and we have to make something happen. And I think some of that, again, before this stretch of Trevor, I think Trevor was still trying to make some things out of nothing when players would screw up a play, from Travis Hunter to sometimes even a Parker Washington. We have great video from, I think, the Raiders game of him being so mad at the 2-point conversion attempt. I think it was the Raiders game because somebody lined up wrong. So I don't know how you figure that part out. They have simplified because they've had less of that in this half of the year, certainly, than the first half. But I guess it's an area of growth for this whole offense as you move on to even next year, where they can do better at.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they haven't even really scratched the surface yet of what this offense is really capable of. But when you talk about what it looks like so far, you are seeing evolution now. I think when they brought in Jacoby Myers, when Travis Hunter goes down and everything, they did have to simplify it a little bit. And it paid dividends, right? Because now it wasn't so much, right, these pre-snap motions, these wide receivers taking off too early and causing the pre-snap penalties and everything. It was more of just the meat and potatoes. But now you're starting to see a little more as we get towards the playoffs, where they're starting to add a little more here with Brent Strange. They're starting to add a little more here and there, and that's how it should be. And I'm like, listen, you should be excited for this season, how it finishes. Hopefully they can make a run. But you should also be excited for what's to come, because imagine Trevor Lawrence a full year in the system under his belt. Imagine Jacoby Myers with a full year under his belt of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and that leads us into this. I didn't bring this up yesterday. I thought this was fascinating watching, I think it was NFL Network. I think Stacey Dales did the interview pregame with Liam Coen, and he said, they asked him about the offense. Why is it averaging 33 points a game, blah, 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 or why is Trevor playing so well? And eventually he basically said, listen, we simplified some things, but we also said, what does he do really well? How can we cater to him more? And then what can we put on the back burner as projects going into next year? And I thought that was interesting, and I wanted to ask you about it. Like, what could that be? What could, projects for next year be? Because it looks like this offense is flying high and playing really well and scoring 30-plus points a game. Like, any idea what – I mean, of course, we could ask Liam at some point.
There you go.
But and I don't know how much he'd let on, right, in front of a microphone or not. But, what do you – What's your interpretation of that, I guess?
For projects for next year?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just more exotic formations, more pre-snap motions, things like that, because I think those two things have kind of gone by the wayside since they kind of had to tone things down a little bit. So I just think, evolving those pre-snap reads and pre-snap motion.
Yeah, and it could, is it potentially something, as we're talking about it, like the screen game? That, and this might not be just a Trevor thing. It might be an offensive thing where it's like, I would imagine there's some frustration from Liam Coen, who ran screens more than like anybody else in the National Football League last year, that they can't run a damn screen pass. And that we praise it when it happens for 13 yards the other day to ETN.
No, without a doubt. Maybe involve the screen game. Maybe get your own little version of the tush push going, right? Like the Ravens have that. I mean, a lot of teams have that. Maybe Liam Coen implements that because – unfortunately, when it was 4th and 1.5, we'll call it, in Indy, they couldn't convert it. So maybe you implement something with that as well.
Yeah. So I guess that's exciting to be able to master what you can right now, and they found something that really works, and now build off that. And I think, in hindsight, when this thing's all said and done for this year, you will wonder if Liam put too much on this offense to begin with. It's an intricate offense and everything else, and I wonder if he learned that they put too much on.
I mean, I think and he might be the first one to tell you this, he put too much on himself in the beginning because he was also trying to monitor the defense as well. I mean, this guy was...
Yeah, true. He
said
that.
This is,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Well, I assumed it because he kept speaking about the defense. You know how I felt about that. So I assumed he had some kind of fingerprint on that defense. Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, this is a first-year coach who... it's sometimes it's got to be trial by error. And then, by the way, it's performance-based business, so you always have the pressure to win football games. That's a lot on your plate. And not only are you trying to lead a locker room, but maybe you had your finger on the defense a little bit. Oh, and by the way, you have to design plays and call plays during a game as well. So that's a lot for anybody, let alone a first-year coach. So I think he simplified things, too, in terms of what his job had to be, right? I think when he turned over the reins to Coach Campanelli and just said, hey, you do your thing, I trust you, and I'll take care of the offense, I think that's when things really turned around for this team.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, let's do this. Take a break. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Noon hour, we were going to have a little review. So a ton of Jags talking. We're not done talking Jags. This whole cleats expression, he talked about a little bit more. There's one thing about Liam Coen. I think at some point, like he's lining himself up for some good either leadership conferences or off-season motivational speaking. I've heard he's very good in that atmosphere. He's done coaching clinics, and he's really good at it. But I think we love this part about it because he'll take you inside, and yesterday he kind of takes you inside the whole thing, which I think we've heard bits and pieces of. But it does embody what this football team feels like they're all about right now. We wondered fast, right? That was the acronym that we were really stuck on. It's really this cleats one. That seems to have paved the way for some of the Jaguars' success in the building and in year one under Liam Coen. We'll hear from him on that. And also, I don't know why everybody's sitting here telling me Drake Maye is going to win the MVP. I think that's ridiculous. I don't care what Matthew Stafford did yesterday. So we'll get Austin's thoughts on that wild game last night. And what is up with the Rams? Because I feel like they might be the best team in the National Football League. And then they show us the last 2 weeks. We'll talk about it coming up. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. just like the original location in Springfield. Try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Hi, I'm Drake Maye from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, Daniel Griffiths takes us through some of the stats from Week 17 and the Jaguars win. And look what Trevor's done the last 4 weeks against the blitz. This is kind of what got us into the conversation of the last little bit. Blitz has been very good, but the Colts, they blitzed him a lot here, and they continue to blitz him. And, I mean, the remarkable thing is how much he got hit, and he keeps getting up. I mean, he took some shots in that game. We're on the moon watching that game in the press box. I mean, it is so high up, and so you don't get a full appreciation for it. And just what happens in the press box for me, like the replay is 40 seconds later. Like the TV is 40 seconds behind. So essentially you're watching if you watch the replay, you miss the next play, and the TV's not right next to you. So it's very hard sometimes to really feel that until I watched it back yesterday morning, and I was like, holy cow, man. Some of the hits that he took were ridiculous. Look at Parker Washington the last couple of weeks. Just amazing. And the Jaguars secondary. What a year. Mm-hmm. That's a record, by the way, for them, I think, in passes defensed this season. That's how good they've been. I mean, that's even better than 2017. A quick thought. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's so crazy, too, about the Jaguars secondary putting up those gaudy numbers, simply because, like, when you think of the Jaguars defense, you ask, like, where are they the strongest? I don't think you initially go to their secondary.
Well, I think that's where we thought they might be the weakest.
Yeah, of course. I think you go to, like, the edge, right, like with Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. So it's crazy. I mean, in terms of those analytics, like, they're kind of they're the Parker Washingtons of the defense.
Yeah, they really are. I'm going to sit down with Anthony Campanile today here in a little bit, and I want to ask him this a little. But it's really a hodgepodge group, specifically in the secondary. But it's kind of like a group that you've been begging for, like through the bulky era, of like, find us where are some of the gems. Well, Gladstone with we mentioned Strigo and B.J. Green and Matt Dickerson. There's some gems in there, right? That we don't. But really, you take on the whole defense, and you've got Foye as a story, right? He's a 6th-round guy out of Yale. that had to change position and has become a tackling machine. Now, Devin Lloyd doesn't fit that. Trayvon doesn't fit that. Eric Armstead I don't think fits that. Josh doesn't fit that. But you go to the back end, Dewey fits that. I think Eric Murray to a degree fits that in his career. Buster Brown fits that. Newsome obviously doesn't. But my point is, you've got like half of that. I'll give you Antonio Johnson. He's a fifth-round guy that's really emerged. So you've got like half of the defense, to me, fits like, I don't know if it's gem, but it's that chip on the shoulder, trying to find their way. And I think that's a reason why they made it all come together in some sense, too, because it also marries with the coaching staff and what they've got going on here in Jacksonville of lack of respect and all that other stuff.
No, without a doubt, man. It's, I mean, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. It's just you have the right pieces in place. Yeah. You have the right coach in place, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, you're hearing a couple rumors saying that, will Coach Campanile get a couple job interviews, for maybe like the Giants gig and everything, and like the selfish person in me wants to go, okay, well, hopefully you give up like 30 points against the Tennessee Titans, and like you put up 50, so that way we don't have to have those conversations anymore. Because I don't think you want to lose Coach Campanile, but I mean, hey, props to him, right? You come in and you turn it all around. The bar was extremely low, and we didn't really have a lot of expectations, but to coach the number one right now rush defense in the NFL and to have the turnovers like you have, it definitely merits praise, because it's one thing if okay, interception here or there, sometimes you get lucky in a couple of them, right? And they're contagious. But then when you start becoming like one of the top teams in the NFL at takeaways and you're really good at stopping the run, I mean, eventually you got to say, okay, well, I think coaching's got something to do with this as well.
Yeah, well, we know this isn't the 2017 defense, right? But the
Correct.
reality is they're performing, closer to that than they were closer to a crappy defense from last year, right? I mean, they're not the 2017 defense, don't get me wrong. But the turnovers are impressive. The yards, the points per game, it's top 10 in the National Football League. All these different things. And we know they're not as gifted as that defense, but they're just doing it in a kind of a different way with a different group.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I've said this a lot, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Like, I truly think, whether it's Liam Coen, whether it's this team, whether it's the defense, I think their biggest strength and what they have an advantage over every other team in the NFL is their adaptability. And I think Coach Campanile also leads that charge, because if you look at halftime, I mean, the game plan, in the first half was like, okay, I guess you respect Phillip Rivers a lot because you want to play off coverage and everything. Let him dink and dunk, and then Jonathan Taylor is kind of having his day a little bit. In the second half, they come out and go, you know what? Let's just bring in Dennis Gardeck. Let's put Trayvon Walker in a 4-eye, and let's change up our entire defensive front, and let's see what happens. And it's the adaptability of calling that, but it's also the adaptability of the players, where it's like, hey, Trayvon, I understand that you're an edge and you probably want to get quarterback sacks because that's what really justifies you getting a big-time contract like Josh Hines-Allen did. But go ahead and play a 4-eye. And by the way, if they run, you're playing a 3 technique. And if they pass, you have to work your way out to a 5 technique. Not a lot of guys are doing that, especially in like this traditional 4-3 defense. Trayvon Walker did it because he can handle it. That's the example of being adaptable, and that's what this team does very well.
It's interesting you bring that up, and I am seeing all that moving around a lot more. Even Josh and him are now jumping side to side sometimes. You didn't love the idea that at times, right, with Trayvon, when people wanted to kick him inside. But I know that was more on a permanent basis. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it also shows his skill set. Like, again, another thing that they said when they drafted him, they thought he was the best player of the draft at 3 different positions. Now, is that true with Hutchinson and everything? Probably not. But his versatility, and even Campanile said, I've never been around anybody like him, what he can do from a physical standpoint as an athlete.
No, without a doubt. And like, let me make it clear. Like, would I rather see Trayvon Walker play on the outside and be defensive end because I think he's talented there? Absolutely. But when your interior defense isn't doing their job against Jonathan Taylor, and you kind of have to go with the 5-man front in the run game and then bring down Dennis Gardeck, then so be it, right? Because it obviously worked. And I think it's kind of an unsung responsibility from Trayvon Walker in that Colts game, and he did get a sack, and it was more of a coverage sack and everything. But, I don't think every player wants to do that. I mean, I played in a defense in Kansas City where I had to do that. And it sucks. Like, it sucks playing that 4-eye position, because essentially, like, okay, I'm here to stop the run, and if it's a pass, like I'm at a disadvantage because now I have to. Okay, is it a run? No, it's a pass. Okay, now I have to work back outside. Like you're behind the 8 ball, so it takes away your pass rush. But obviously, Trayvon Walker can handle it, and they had much success in the second half because of it.
He's an animal, man, because he's also doing this by playing hurt. Like he's not fully healthy. One hand and knee.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, he's banged up, and he's still getting it done. So you appreciate that. The one other thing about all this adaptability, which I continue to go back to our little walk around the field where I say it like once a week with Gladstone, where he says you can build a good team in the offseason. The great teams evolve during the season, and we're seeing an evolution of a team. This is a trio of defensive backs that was supposed to be Travis Hunter, Tyson Campbell, Jordan Lewis. It's not those guys. They're all out. And they're still playing well in the secondary. So that part of it alone is adaptability and depth and just everything else from a coaching standpoint. I mean, these guys are really showing their chops this year, I think, from a coaching standpoint. And we know that. The record says that. But I think there are deeper dives that also showcase this. Speaking of showing their chops, the Jags have these sayings from intangibly rich to fast, the acronym, to another one that is in the hallway of cleats, another acronym. And this was a couple of minute response from Liam Coen yesterday, but I think it caught a lot of people's attention. So if you haven't heard it, we'll play it. And it basically gives you a big insight about what this whole operation has been like in year one under Liam, Tony Baselli, James Gladstone, and really part of the key of the Jaguars' success.
That's a great point. That's something that we've stressed a lot here is playing the next play. Like that, we talk about that so often, and how good, bad, or ugly, what just happened does not matter. The most important thing is the next play. And we've talked a lot as coaches that we've got to be caddies in these games in a lot of ways. Where caddy, it's like, man, next shot. It doesn't matter what just happened, right? It's a next shot mentality. Give them the next club and let them go hit the next shot with confidence. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You go back to Tin Cup and remember in that clip where he hits 7 balls in the water and he just keeps, keep giving you the club. And that's our jobs. Our job specifically on game day is it does not matter what just occurred. Let's live in the moment. Let's stay where our feet are. Like our whole culture of cleats, commitment, love, energy, authentic, tough, smart. What that means is to be where your feet are. Cleats in the ground, be where your feet are. The next play is the most important play. And that's got to be the way that we live, living in the moment. For us as a team, it's the same reason why we haven't talked about the playoffs. We haven't talked about the division. We haven't talked about the conference. We haven't talked about the Super Bowl. We're talking about going 1-0 each week. And this week's no different. And so trying to keep that focus singular there in terms of next shot, next play, next op. That's what this is about. Tony Baselli says it all the time. This is the most important game in the history of the franchise because it's the next one.
Yeah,
that's all that really matters. It's the next one. And so winning in this league's hard. Executing in this league is hard. And so you've got to give each other and give yourself a little grace, especially in game where, you might have an awesome play. Well, great, let's feed off that. But the next play is completely its own entity, right? And anything can happen on the next play. Okay, you just screwed up. You had a missed assignment or you got beat one-on-one. Well, okay, go beat his ass the next play. Like, that's what this is. That's the opportunity that we have. That's the beauty of playing the game. And so, we've talked a lot about responding and how to respond. And it's a lot easier said than done.
There's no doubt about that. A lot easier said than done. And it's, again, I think we've heard bits and pieces of all this stuff. I just thought he encapsulated that pretty nice in a couple of minutes. And I think you can go down the list of players and plays and other things that you've seen these guys bounce back from. It's part of sport. Like you've lived it, like at the highest level. I don't think every one of us kind of relates to that. I think that's a differentiation between really good athletes, elite athletes, and maybe even elite people in other jobs than and everyone else. I think when something bad happens to one of us or we get in a bad mood for the rest of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that just happens and kind of can't get out of a funk or whatever. You spilled your coffee in the morning or, that's not always easy for people to move on from. Yet we're asking guys at the highest level with microscopes all over them to move on from a bad play, boom, just like that, and go make the next one. It's a great message.
No, it's a great message, and I thought I could relate to it as a professional athlete, but then he dropped 2 golf things, and I'm like, man, I'm out of it.
You've seen Tin Cup.
I've seen it like once. I remember the scene for sure.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. How you gonna almost swing on Robert Saleh and then have golf references? Like, where's the Muhammad Ali?
it's a
Where's
9
the Bruce
handicap,
Lee?
man.
Where is he really?
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's pretty good.
Man. All right.
Pretty good for a guy who coaches football.
He's 9 handicapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, no idea what that means, but I assume. Okay, I'll take your word for that.
He can play a little bit.
No, but and listen, it's an. I mean, I will say Liam Coen is extremely different from some of the coaches that we see around the league in terms of how he approaches the motivation. But when it comes to playing the next play, every single coach I've had,
that's a common.
That's a common thing, and that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to live in the moment, and whether you want to talk about cleats, we talk about J.J. McCarthy walking barefoot on the field, like it's all kind of the same thing of grounding and being in the present moment because that's where all the sweetness is. You know, so I appreciate it. I don't appreciate the golf stuff, but if you got a -9 or 9,
just a 9 handicap.
Okay, he's got a 9 handicap, so spit your game, man.
9's not bad. Means he's probably shooting low 80s quite a bit. Can tickle the 70s at times.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty good.
Well, I shot a 120 one time with Kuz when we did the old show, so it's all good.
You are not a 9 handicap. Probably more like 36.
Ain't trying to be, man.
But
give me a 6-7 handicap. I don't care, dude.
Don't say that in front of Chandler.
Oh, is he actually into that?
Chandler going.
Is he into that? And Marcel just, dude, you say it and they appear.
It's amazing.
Marcel just comes out of nowhere and does it.
Oh, he just did it.
Oh yeah, dude, he literally just ran in the room, did it, and then ran back out. I love it, man.
Chandler, he will giggle every time.
Oh, Chandler. Oh yeah. Sorry, Chandler, man. I'm just.
Don't apologize. He likes.
It's great.
Okay.
I'll hear it from a mile away. I'll start laughing.
I get texts.
I had to do the holidays.
Chandler.
I had to do with the holidays with my son, where that was a daily basis with 6-7.
It's like the goalpost is moving. I thought this was like a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old thing.
No, we're all doing it now.
Now it's like, really, I feel like the 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old thing.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, it's going to become a parental thing when I think it's on its way, and then it's going to be uncool, so then it will go away. I mean, as soon as it shifts completely to the parents, and they're on it, and they're thinking it's funny, which we're getting there. Like, I really think like we're getting there.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's going to die. Like 2026, 6-7 goes away.
See, that's why I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to squash it. So I'm doing it all the time. Anytime I hear 6-7, I'm doing it. I don't care. I can be at church, like, if, Psalm
the
6
starts doing it.
Yeah, Psalm 6, chapter verse 7.
The altar boys
I'll stand up
are
and
doing it.
Watch me, man. Yeah.
If we think it will go away in 2026 or 2027.
Yeah, I like it.
There we go.
But by the way, Brent, you want to hear the latest in Wisconsin trends? Because you weren't here when we had like the deer testicles thing that we talked about.
I heard that day.
You heard about it, though,
yeah,
right?
I heard you gave the Hamby challenge.
Yeah,
but
so
you
now
said he'd actually do it.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, he's not here to defend himself, so I'll take it easy on him. But a little taken back by it. But check this one out now. This was in a tavern that my friend posted. And you can see the sign just for proof here. But it says, bring in current week's church bulletin for a 10% discount off your bill. Sundays only from 8 to 2 p.m. So you go to church.
You prove that you went to church.
So if you go to church, you bring in a church bulletin, you get 10% off your tab. Only on Sundays, though. And that's from 8 to 2 p.m. There you go, man.
That's good.
That's the latest.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody's got to go do a story then on the person that actually is going to church, grabbing the bulletin, leaving, and then going to get the 10% off.
You mean not even going to church?
So essentially stealing the bulletin and then getting getting to the restaurant for the 10% off.
For sure.
I love it. That's you got some good stuff going on in Wisconsin. I always like the fact that like that's called a bulletin too. Like what else is called a bulletin?
That's a great point. I mean, there's a bulletin board, right?
There is a bulletin board, which is essentially where that comes from.
Yeah, but when's the last time you?
But like they don't
used
call
a
it a newsletter,
board?
like a church newsletter.
No,
right?
Man. Church bulletin sounds more official that way.
It really does. Like, why is that a thing?
It's a great call.
and it is a thing.
Yeah, like it should be like a scroll, like church, not scroll, but something old school, like a
something
church,
way old school. Well, maybe bulletin is
maybe
old.
scroll. Yeah, okay.
Scroll. I thought you said
church
squirrel.
Oh no, scroll. Yeah.
You said scroll. I like it.
By the way, shout out to Reese Keep the Peace. My mom recently figured out how to use ChatGPT to make Christmas cards of her dogs. It's over.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It is. It might be over for a lot of people.
Have you used ChatGPT yet?
I can't say. The only time I ever really use it is if I Google something. Now it comes up like right away.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so then, but now ever since my tag team partnership of WWE happened, I have to verify with whatever's underneath it because I don't fully believe it.
Of course.
When John Cena and whoever else was a tag team partner, what was it? Batista?
You said Batista.
Yeah,
and John
that's
Cena,
what it showed me.
Yeah, I know. And
right?
that was not correct.
That was not correct. So then I learned, and I was like, okay, I'm going down a bit, but make sure there are other articles that say it. But yeah, I don't really.
Nah.
Do you?
I've done stuff for like workouts or like stretches and stuff like that. Just can you make me a workout for the day? Like that's cool, but I don't really trust it for anything else because like you said, like I don't buy into like, hey, how do I win this fight? I'm not doing that. There's some fighters that do that.
No,
there's some that I forgot who the dude was. He was on Ariel Helwani's show where he's like, yeah, I asked ChatGPT how to beat my opponent and he had some pretty good tips. Like I'm not putting my faith in that. Can't do it. And I don't use it for sports either. Like, hey, who should I place a bet on? No, ain't no way, man.
I didn't know people were doing that. Like, that's almost too much information. Like, if I was a fighter, those are saying the fighting world, I don't want that much information.
Oh, dude, it's everything's
now, I'm sitting down with Grant Udinsky today, and I'll ask him, is he using ChatGPT to come up with a game plan? Maybe I should. Well, maybe that's real.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Campanile at halftime was on ChatGPT.
That's
how
not
it
a bad
changed.
call. But he ain't going to tell you if he was, though, is he?
I wouldn't tell him either.
Yeah, people think it's like, oh, we got like the Microsoft pad thing. No, man, it's just ChatGPT. Puka Nacua is killing us. How do we shut it down?
Well, there are people that believe we might get to that point.
I know, man.
So
I know.
That could be. Speaking of, how about that game last night? Crazy, right?
Unreal.
Where did the Atlanta Falcons, we thought they were a goofy team. They were early on.
Yeah.
And then they kind of faded away. Well, now they're back to goofy. They've won 3 in a row. They jump out 21-0.
Yeah. This was the story all year, the Atlanta Falcons. You just can never get a read on them. Like, they show that they're great, and then they get blown up by the Carolina Panthers. Like, it was such a hard team to read. And I think going forward, I mean, you like Bijan Robinson might be, would you say he's the best running back right now in the NFL? I mean, I know Jonathan Taylor makes his
No, I think he is, because here's the deal, man. Yeah. I watched him like he's in a box. There are like 4 guys around him, and he still gains 6 yards.
Yeah. And dude breaks tackles like it's going
unbelievable. Like he was just, I think he just does moves like in space just to do it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like he's crazy. And the thing about just a late game coaching deal on that, I couldn't believe they took him out of the game at the end when they kicked the field goal, and instead of getting the clock all the way down, maybe get another 10 yards, you couldn't tackle him.
I know.
So, and they brought in Algier.
Tyler Algier.
Because he has 0 fumbles.
Who's more the bruiser.
I get it, but they ran him right into the line 3 times.
I know.
Just to burn timeouts. I don't understand why they wouldn't put Bijan in, get a first down, get 10 yards closer for your kicker who just had it blocked.
I know, it's fair. No, it's a great point, especially because he kind of got you to
and
that
he got
win.
You there.
So like let's finish the story.
Yeah.
You know? No, I agree with you. Other part of obviously a big storyline that you teased a little bit. What's falling harder? You and Hamby making the picks every week, or Matthew Stafford's MVP chance?
Definitely.
Both are generational drops.
Definitely
right now,
Hamby and I.
Okay. You think so?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't a good performance last night from Stafford.
No, it really wasn't. Yeah. Listen, I'm a big believer that Stafford still wins. Like, it doesn't change in a week for me, number one. Okay. And I think he's got how many more, 40-plus touchdowns, which is, I think, significantly more passing touchdowns. I know May has some with his legs.
Okay, so Stafford's got 42 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Drake Maye right now has, please bear with me, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and I think he's got like he's got 4 rushing touchdowns this season as well.
Yeah. I know, does Stafford have no rushing touchdowns? I doubt
it. I doubt it. I mean, are they tush pushing with Stafford?
It would have to be. Like, that's
Dude's got some gray hair, Brent. You see him on the sidelines?
He's got like 8 career rushing yards.
Dude's got a salt and pepper mane going on. I don't think he's doing a lot of running and scrambling.
I just think I don't think it's really close, man. And I understand it's close. I just don't think it's close. I think Stafford has been unbelievable this year, the whole year. At one time, it was like 28 touchdowns and 2 picks. I know he's faded a little bit. They caught up to him in terms of the interceptions. But I think he plays in the hardest division in football. It's the most wins in football in that division. He also plays in an NFC, which I think we all believe is better than the AFC in terms of quality teams that you're playing.
Okay.
And again, Drake Maye's been great. This isn't a knock on Drake Maye. I just feel like it's hands down Stafford, and I don't really think it's that close. If you want to, again, who you have to go through, who you're playing, again, you can throw the Patriots number in there. They've played the softest schedule in the league. And that's clear as day. Now, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be in the postseason or in any of these conversations. I just think you have to factor it in to those conversations.
Listen, if we're going to factor everything in, and you want to say, and I agree, like the Patriots had a very soft schedule. But at the end of the day, the record is the record, and they're probably going to finish at the top of the AFC. So I think that goes into the voting a little bit because now you're saying you have the best team. Well, once again, based off the record, you have the best team in the AFC with arguably one of the best quarterbacks. So, like, that comes in MVP contention. And to me, when we talk about, like the metrics and everything, who is Drake Maye throwing to?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Who is Drake? I mean, I guess he's got Stephon Diggs, and I know
Diggs
the numbers. Diggs,
and he's had a nice year, man. He's got over 1,000 yards.
Okay, but Diggs is not Puka Nacua, and Diggs is not Devontae Adams.
True.
So I think when you look at like the weapons that Drake Maye has, I think that goes into it as well.
Yeah, and it should.
Yeah. So
I just think if you watch the game, man, look at the end of the game, where Stafford gives his guys 3 opportunities in a crazy situation to even get in field goal range.
Probably should have been a pass interference call, by the way, too.
Should have been, and I think the receiver ran the wrong route from the reaction on the first play. That was a touchdown.
Yep.
But if he comes back and wins that game, we're all saying, he's MVP. Right, because he comes back and beats him from 21-0 down.
Sure.
So, I feel like I just think if you watch, he's been so good. He's so good. He's better right now than Drake Maye, in my opinion. And I think the numbers show it. I think the friction of the league shows it in terms of his division and everything else. And you're right. He does have the best receiver in the game with him.
Well,
fair enough.
And he also had Devontae Adams, who for a long time led the league in touchdown reception. So he had some pretty good players at his disposal.
Listen, they've both been really good. I just think I saw somebody compute numbers where Trevor's numbers are equal in a lot of categories to Drake Maye's. And they did like a whole. Now you're spinning things a little bit, but if you did yards, touchdowns, wins, and then they threw in like the strength of schedule, where obviously the Jags are like 20% better or harder strength of schedule than the Patriots. And the numbers were the same. Now, I think those people left out like completion percentage and QB rating because those numbers don't look that great for Trevor this year compared to a guy like Drake Maye. So it just depends how you want to look at it. And what I say is you got to watch it. And I just feel like, Maye's been fantastic. I think Stafford's playing at a level than everybody in the game this year.
So, I mean – here's the thing. Are you just going to go off of stats or are you going to go off of what it looks like? Because Drake Maye is the most sacked quarterback, by the way, I believe. It might be Cam Ward now,
early on.
He's been sacked 43 times this season.
43.
That's a lot.
I thought Stafford got sacked 43 times last night.
I know. It seemed like it, but Stafford's got like 20-something, I believe. So it's...
That's a little bit of him being a veteran guy, too, though. He avoids a lot.
Okay.
Is my guess because he doesn't want to get hit.
Sure, yeah.
It's a little Brady-esque
in
that sense where he's like, I'm...
And they don't have a 1,000-yard receiver right now. I mean, Diggs will probably get that.
I thought he was over 1,000 already.
I think he's like 25 yards away. So, I'm going to be honest. I think you make an argument for both of them. I really do. Like, I think with what Drake Maye's had to work with at his weapons, I think he's been able to get the very most out of them. I don't think everyone's like clamoring for him with, hey, he's a Jacksonville dude. Like Mario Douglas, Mac Hollins, who's now on IR. Like, and I get they have good tight ends. Hunter Henry, had a good season and everything. But
I just don't think you should lose. Like, this is what I don't love about this stuff. The odds shifted last night because of a game where obviously it wasn't his best game.
Sure.
In that time frame. Well, you can't take away the previous 16 weeks where yesterday at 4:00 in the afternoon, you had him on as a pretty heavy favorite to win. And so I just found that, like, so as Drake Maye throws 2 picks next week, is he out? Like, is that where we're at with this? That's why I think the stats get a little carried away.
I just think we're at where it looked so bad last night for Stafford in the first half in a game that you really had to win. Like, there's a lot to play for.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
And you can say, okay, well, the Patriots played the Jets, and they had something to play for in terms of that top seed. What do they do against the Jets?
Yeah.
I don't know. May had 5 touchdowns or whatever in the first half. Played it in fantasy. Knocked me out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, these awards are funny because, like, I saw Shuck is now, like, the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally played, like, 4 games. Like, he's won it in 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he played a little bit more before that, but his last 4 games have been terrific. And so we're talking about a 17-game season, and the Offensive Rookie of the Year played 4 games to win it. Now, again, a 5th coming up. We'll see. But he's been very good. But that's what it takes to win Offensive Rookie of the Year is be really good late for 4 games. Kind of feels a little Heisman-like, I guess, in that sense, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But that's where I think some of the awards are a bit goofy. But what a bigger part of that, like, I don't give a damn who wins the MVP. I could care less. But what about the Rams, man? Like, goofy losses. That's what's strange. Like, they lost last week, 16-point lead in the 4th to Seattle. Seattle's very good, but still, come on, the way they lost that. Yesterday's game, to be down 21-0 to that team in a game that did matter. The blown lead at Philadelphia earlier this year, the Carolina loss at home. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the hell to make of L.A. And everybody loves McVay, and I do too. I think he's fantastic, along with Stafford, and their team looks really good. But then their team doesn't sometimes. No, it's bizarre.
It's really bizarre. But this has been the overall synopsis of this NFL season. Anybody. Like, there's no one that sticks out. Nobody. Patriots? No. Like, they're the top seed probably? No. Broncos? Well, you saw Jacksonville go to them and take care of it. Like, and then the other side, like, I thought the Rams, if you had asked me 3 weeks ago who the best team in the NFL is, would have said the Rams.
Even when they lost to Seattle, we thought they were the best team in the NFL.
That was the best team.
That was like 10 days ago.
Can you really say now that after getting beat in Atlanta by a team that had nothing to play for, the Rams are really the best team in the NFL? I don't think so. So it's up for grabs, man. There's you pick every single team and think of something that it's like, okay, well, are they really that good of a team?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I really thought, too, like, once the block kick, I was like, okay, they're going to come back and win.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't win that game, the defense to me is a bit surprising. I thought the defense was better because they have really good players up there, especially up front. And we saw that on display in London. But, Bijan just ran all over them. And then when they needed to stop late, they couldn't get it.
Yeah.
So, really, it's kind of stunning.
Let's do the exercise real quick because I'm trying to take my teal glasses off and not be biased.
Let's do this. Can we hold that thought?
Yeah,
let's get on break because I know we're going to get one in, then we're going to get another one in. So let's hit a break and then come back and give this exercise.
What are other people saying about the Jaguars in terms of, like, what is our weaknesses and why should we not be concerned about, going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because we framed the question about, like, Josh Allen yesterday, I think it was. Like, he's so dangerous. Yeah, but that's a good way to look at it. Like, does anybody want to play the Jags?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Would you want to play the Jags right now? We'll take a break. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
What a throw! Touchdown, Jaguars!
We're coming for you.
They're going to get him on the ground, and that's going to end the ball game.
We show no mercy. Lawrence looking deep in the end zone. Touchdown!
Duval! ETN is going to take it all the way!
Right Right here on CBS 47.
CBS 47.
Right here.
Your official station of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the Jaguars strike first.
Go Jags.
You have the opportunity to explore what you might want to do with your life.
There's so many opportunities here that it can spark interest that you didn't even know you had.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet's truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Ah, look at that shot from Chandler Dantzler at the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. A good one.
Nice.
Chandler was out there with Noah, and they covering the game. Virginia and Tony Elliott win the football game. Got a little wet there, Chandler.
Yeah, I got a little wet on that one. I was sprinting on the field, all the players with the Gatorade, and ran out there and I got a little wet, but I got a good shot out of it.
The purple? Get it?
I don't know. Might have been water.
I was going to say, like...
Yeah, because it kind of looks like in the bucket, it looks like it's colored.
But then it looks like it's water.
But most of it looks watery, yeah.
Man, times must be tough at Virginia. Can't afford the Gatorade, man. Everything's going to NIL. Can't afford Gatorade,
shot.
Brent.
That was a really good shot.
You've going bad.
So you like doing the pictures more than video?
Yeah, I like doing pictures.
Yeah. There are a lot of people love doing the picture stuff.
Yeah.
But he does a good job of it, and been doing a good job for us doing a lot of our social media, him and Noah, and everything else, and going to events like that and coming to like Jags All Access tonight. We'll have Monteric Brown and Greg Newsom on the show. That one at Strings in Springfield, 7 o'clock on Fox 30. And yesterday we had a great time with Cam Little at Jags Report Live. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Chandler Dantzler here on a Tuesday. Remember, coming up at noon, we will have a look back at 2025. A lot of Jags talk on that, but also some college football, some other things that happened in the local sports world from 12 to 1. Club 904 with me, O'Brien, at 1 o'clock. And then we get into the new year. No show tomorrow. We'll have storytellers of the 904, Sam Kavaris, Dan Hicken during the show. And also no show Thursday. Back at it Friday before the Jags play Tennessee. So kind of a goofy schedule we have over the next few days, once again with the holiday week. But here until 1 o'clock today on the Brent and Austin Show with a little 2025 review as part of the show. All right, what you got? Got a little exercise for us?
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to, because, we kind of broke down a little bit the AFC. This was yesterday, I believe, we played this game, where it was like, what teams scare you? Why do they scare you? What teams you're not worried about? Things like that. Well, what do you think teams, or I guess fans for that instance, are saying about the Jacksonville Jaguars in terms of, like, if you had to play them? Like, for instance, like, if you play the Rams right now, well, you're not really worried about their defense, apparently.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and I feel like if you can run the football a little bit, you're feeling pretty good.
Feel pretty good.
Panthers, are you really worried about them at all, honestly?
I don't think anybody's worried about Panthers or Tampa.
Correct.
Not saying they shouldn't be, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're worried about them.
Yeah, I think we talk about the Seahawks. Do you trust Sam Darnold? That's the biggest question there.
Yeah.
Right?
But you're worried about that front.
Correct. San Francisco.
And Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Correct. San Francisco, not worried about their defense.
No.
Eagles have shown a little more promise, but, like, can they keep it together? Or are they just like a keg getting ready to explode? Is that fair, or what do you think?
I think I'd still be worried about the Eagles because of their physicality more than anything else this time of year.
Okay, is there any is there something that you're not worried about though? Like, because
I'm not worried about their passing game.
Okay,
but I'm worried about Saquon. Saquon's been better,
sure,
and so I'm still worried about their explosiveness with him.
Green Bay, yeah. Sorry, Brent. I think they're your Super Bowl team, but
yeah, and I don't care about that. I do think I'm less. I feel like I still would fear the fact that they win. Like, LaFleur has won a lot of games, man.
Yeah.
And Love, if he does get healthy, and again, there's a lot of ifs with them.
Yeah.
But I would suggest you're right. I don't know if I fear them.
So
and you don't have to play them at Lambeau.
Correct. This next one might be the most Jaguars-esque team, I think, in the playoffs. The Browns. The Bears.
Yeah, they really are.
Because
I think they're a scary team.
Can run the football. Quarterback playing at a pretty high level. I think has some intricacies in terms of offense. And you think of their defense, and it's like, and the difference between the Bears and the Jaguars is the Bears don't have a pass rush. I think the Jaguars have a better pass rush than the Bears.
But the Bears lead the league in turnovers.
The Bears lead the league in turnovers, whether it's interceptions or fumbles. They create turnovers, and that's slept on a little bit. So I think they're comparable, but is there something about the Bears where it's like, I'm not worried about that?
No, I think the Bears are dangerous. And now I'll give you the thing that might scare teams more than anything else about the Chicago Bears. They seem like a bit of a team of destiny. Like, they've won 6 games in the final couple minutes. They almost pulled another one off the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, they feel like they're going to find a way to win the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like 22 Jaguars, they remind me of more than anything else.
And then real quick, the AFC, we kind of talked about this yesterday a little bit. Chargers, obviously, offensive line. They don't scare you, right?
The defense scares me now, though.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
The defense is good, and Herbert has to worry you.
On paper, they should worry you. Yeah. Like, their offense should worry you. Lamb McConkey should worry you, but he hasn't done anything recently. Orlando Getson should worry you, but, like, he had a drop ball that was an interception. Like, yeah, on paper they should worry you, but I think overall right now, based off what we've seen, you want that matchup if you're a Jags fan.
You probably want that matchup if you're almost anybody in the AFC.
Steelers, we talked about them yesterday. Ravens, we'll see how that pans out. Denver, we know what it is already with Denver. Play Denver.
By the way, if Baltimore gets in, they should scare you with potentially Lamar and definitely Derrick Henry.
For sure. Yep. Denver, we know what it is.
Denver, it's their defense.
Yep. We talked about Josh Allen yesterday, and then Houston, talked about their defense, obviously. And the Patriots, they play pretty good complementary football. All right, so then the question is, Brent, if you're these surrounding fan bases, getting ready to make your playoff run, and you see the Jacksonville Jaguars, what are you afraid of? And what are you like, we're not worried about that at all?
I think I'm afraid of the offense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm afraid from Coen to Trevor, and they put up points left and right. So in the 2 games that they haven't put over 25 points in their last 9, they were up and down the field.
Sure.
So I think I'd be pretty nervous about that. And then I would say outside of, I think, Josh and Trayvon, I'm not worried about the defense. Like I don't sleep on the. I do sleep on the defense a little bit, but I'm not worried about it if I'm in opposition. I think we can pass on them, and I think we take it to the air, which most teams will try to do. And if we can block those guys off the edge, give a little help, I think we can score 25-plus points against the Jags. I'm not saying that they will, but I think if I'm opposing them, I think I can do that.
That's fair. And this is why the matchup, I mean, we'll see how this all shakes out, right? But it's looking like it could be the Jaguars and the Bills, right? And if that's the case, then yes, it's the Josh Allen effect, and that scares you and everything. But for me, for Josh Allen to get going, they have to run the football with James Cook. Like that's been their identity all season.
Yeah.
When James Cook does well, the Buffalo Bills do well. The Jaguars' best feature on defense is that they can stop the run.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, and I get it, right? Like, okay, Daniel Jones goes out the first game with the Colts, so, you're the backs against the wall. Okay, well, you had a Phillip Rivers-led team that put up some decent points against the San Francisco 49ers a week prior, and the Jags had no problem in the second half shutting Jonathan Taylor down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I get we can say, okay, well, what does the resume say of the teams they played? Do teams really try to run against them? I don't know. At the end of the day, they've answered, I feel like, every single challenge in terms of stopping the run every single week.
They have.
So I think, like, if you're a Jags fan and you're getting, okay, yeah, I am afraid of Josh Allen, and I think anybody should be. I get it. He hasn't looked his best. He's banged up, but I would much rather play any other quarterback right now in the AFC, including Drake Maye, than I would Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Simple fact. But the fact of the matter is I think for Josh Allen to have a great day, James Cook also has to have a great day. And if the Jaguars have showed one thing that we know, is they can stop the run on defense.
Yeah, it's a good point. And by the way, I do think the Jags, in their kind of their belt, their notches this year, you would say they have had to play Taylor twice, and they've done a nice job against them. They've had to play the defense of Houston twice, and they split with them and really dominated them one time before blowing the lead. So, like, they've had to, and that's what people are starting to figure out, is like the Jags' resume looks pretty damn good in the teams they beat. I think they've beaten 6 playoff teams, which is the most in the NFL out of anybody else. So I'll give you one other thing about this where I think, and I'm not sure because I don't know everybody's, but I got to believe that the Jags, and I know they had a couple of mistakes the other day in the kick return game, but I don't know if there's anybody that matches up with the Jags on special teams, at least from a specialist standpoint.
Well, in terms of field goals
and punts, and by the way, Parker Washington.
Yeah.
So, like, overall, I think their return game has been pretty good. Their cover game has been pretty good. The 3 teams that are actually really good in that department that the Jags either stay away from, and this week will be one, is Tennessee, out of it. Yeah. The Jets, out of it. And actually the Colts, what they did the other day, out of it with Doolin. So I don't know what everybody else brings to the table in that department again. But I got to believe it's really hard to match up with the Jags. I think Logan Cook is one of the best in the game, and at times is the best. Cam Little can do everything anybody else can do, and then some. And, again, Parker Washington, I think, is tied for the lead in return touchdowns. He's a dangerous piece of it for any opposition. He can change the game, kind of like Agnew could do in 2022 for the football team. So, yeah, man, I mean, somebody else just brought it up. They're a pretty well-rounded football team.
Yeah,
the way they look right now.
Exactly, and then there's not a lot of things to dislike. I mean, I do agree a little bit with Michael Doby here talking about the secondary issues. Like, if this team has been beat in one area, it's been, deep middle of the field, giving up big explosive plays, and it's been by one receivers. Nico Collins has had a couple good games. Obviously, I mean, he wasn't a one receiver, but they treated him like it. Devontae Adams had, 3 touchdowns?
He had 3.
Jack Smith-Njigba had a pretty good day.
Had a really
it was
good day.
Based off of one long play, but still, nevertheless.
And then the tight end, Bowers, who plays like a receiver, obviously did. Yeah, they got beat up for that.
So,
most of that in that one stretch.
Correct. But then the counterpoint of that is, okay, well, then who they have, do Buffalo's wide receivers, does Khalil Shakir scare you? Does Once again, first team, I forgot about him. Brandon Cooks, does he scare you right now? Like,
Does
not
Stephon
really.
Diggs scare you?
No.
Probably not.
No, maybe Hunter Henry if they try to use him as a tight end, but like on the other side, sure, Puka Nacua. Guess what? He scares me.
Yeah,
right?
you got
Even,
some on the NFC.
Yeah, like even A.J. Brown, if he wants to have a day, like he can scare you. Christian Watson, if he's playing for Green Bay, he scares you. Like the 49ers, George Kittle, like they have all the weapons over there. On the AFC, and probably the team with the most weapons, I would say it might be the Chargers, and we saw how that went.
And we also don't, for some reason, they can't find him.
Yeah,
like
true.
McConkey's just been whatever.
He's been he got benched 3 weeks ago on my fantasy team.
Did he?
Was doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man.
Which is kind of wild because nobody could stop him forever. Right?
I blame you. That's your fault to talk about his size and everything.
Well, you guys got too wrapped up in it. It's a good point. Like again, if you start to match up, the bottom line is if you can somehow slow down the other team's quarterback in the AFC, because there are good ones: Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Drake Maye. I think C.J. Stroud can play that. I don't think he's fearful like that. But Lamar Jackson, if he gets in, that's certainly and Bo Nix has shown capable too. So I think the quarterbacks actually are pretty good in the AFC, and they can be dangerous. But you feel like you've got one that can match up with anybody right now, quite frankly, the way he's playing, and Trevor Lawrence. So you feel good about that. I really wonder, Austin, at the end of the day, does this come down to that the Jags have the chops in the coaching ranks since they're a first-time go-round in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Do they have, because you are going to go against, whether it's Vrabel, who's been there, Sean Payton, who's been there, Harbaugh, who's been around for a long time, Tomlin, Harbaugh. Maybe that's where you wonder the most. And that might be unfair to this group that should be maybe coach of the year to wonder that. But the reality is they haven't coached this time of the season, which changes this time of year. It's a different animal in the postseason. So maybe that's the number one curiosity, which really hasn't been a curiosity all season. We think that's an advantage that Jags have had, the way they're coaching this team up.
Yeah. Last little question about this whole exercise and everything. Who do you think makes a longer run? And once again, this is trying to ask you with taking the teal-colored glasses off or anything. Because I do think that there's a lot of similarities between the Bears and the Jags. I mean, whether it's coaching first year, whether it's style of play, whether it's the takeover, like there's
emergence of QB.
Emergence of QB. There's a lot to like about both teams. Which one do you think is built more to make a run? And real quick, and I thought, like, obviously we talk about the Jags offense in terms of team offense, how good they're doing. I didn't know the Bears are ranked 4th right now in team offense.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Not really good. And Ben Johnson's been really good.
But they haven't even had because Odunze's been their top receiver's been out.
Yeah, they've done it with some people out. Yeah, I don't know what the stats say, and I don't sit here and watch Chicago all the time.
Sure.
So I don't know. I would suggest I think the Jags because it's an easier path.
Yeah,
let's just say that, right? Like I think the NFC has a little bit more friction, although it feels like there's enough friction in the AFC too. I think that might be an overplayed deal that the NFC is that much better. But I think most people believe the NFC is better, so I would say it's a little harder for Chicago to get through there. But I think they are a lot alike in many respects. Do I have a little more faith in the running game of the Jags finding it with ETN because of the experience? I think so. And do they have, here's where our conversation for Brian Thomas Jr. comes into play. Does Chicago have that guy that can threaten the field and stretch a defense like that?
Yeah.
Now, do they?
Well, I mean,
is Burden doing that?
Well, he's doing it the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
The guy kind of came out of nowhere.
Because he's starting to get on fire, yeah.
He is, man.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And you said it. I don't think I think the Jags have game records potentially in Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. And Chicago doesn't seem to have that on that side of the ball.
Correct. But, I mean, you can't fault them for having – and, they lead the league in turnover differential by a lot. I mean, I get the Jags are having a good year in terms of creating turnovers. The Bears are much more ahead of them.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's a great question. How would you answer it?
I mean, I do agree with you. I think the AFC is a little easier to navigate than the NFC. I think any give and once again, filling out the bracket, because I think I heard you talking about the bracket when I was walking in. I get, upsets are going to happen. Underdogs are going to, surprise and everything. But I get the sense that I can probably pick the AFC a little better than I can the NFC.
Yeah.
I think the NFC is wide open.
Which is crazy because I think the AFC is wide open too.
Well, yeah. And I'm going to be honest, man. I think the Jaguars are at the top of it.
I
spoke on it.
That's why we did this yesterday. I mean, we'd start to this is not a pipe dream to get 3 wins. I think I said earlier in the show, I think there's a reality, a real path for the Jags to host all 3 games, even as a 3 seed. I know everybody's chasing the 1 and the 2, but as a 3, I would not be surprised to see the Patriots lose in the first round. And then the second round, Denver to lose to whoever. Maybe it's Houston or somebody. For that to all work out, I think the Jags would have to probably host, let's just say, the Chargers. Or if the Bills don't play Allen and they lose, then the Jags get the Chargers in week 1. Then the Bills beat the Patriots. They would host the Bills the next week.
Yeah.
Or they would host Houston, depending on how that worked out. Or Pittsburgh or Baltimore. And then the last one, someone would have to upset Denver, right? Or something like Buffalo. They could host Buffalo there's so many iterations of this. But, I wouldn't be surprised at that. But I also really wouldn't be surprised if the Jags lost in the first round. And I know people don't want to hear that, but I don't know how we could be surprised by that, given the nature of the NFL right now.
For sure.
Nobody should be surprised. One. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and by the way, Steven, you shouldn't be scared of anyone. But I also think you can go to all 14 markets that make, maybe 13, depending on that one. And I think Pittsburgh will be I don't think they're confident, or even maybe a Baltimore. So maybe 12 out of the 14 markets or teams, fan bases, and I think they would say the same thing.
I'm going to be sick if it's the Eagles, though. I'm going to be honest with you.
That go to the Super Bowl? Yeah. That find a way through all this mess?
Yeah, after what the season looked like.
Yeah, and by the way, it would start to grow even Sirianni's legend even more, and it doesn't feel like a guy that we want to grow as legend.
Yeah, didn't it seem like they were just destined to fall apart?
It really did, yeah.
Saquon is a shell of himself, A.J. Brown's fed up and everything, and now, let's go to another Super Bowl.
Yeah, they do feel a little bit, in a weird way, like Kansas City and the Patriots
Carter's
have felt.
Spitting on people. Yeah, man.
At times where it's okay, they're not that good.
Yeah.
But, they're going to be a win away from the Super Bowl.
Script writers change it. Let's go.
We'll see. All right, take a break. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. I'm heading down to the stadium. Austin takes it until noon, and then at noon we'll have a look back at 2025 as well with a lot of Jaguars talk in there. So we'll be right back here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with an inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
How do we make Mason's famous lobster rolls? It's simple. We get up before dawn, head into the open waters of Maine, haul in our traps by hand, and send only the best straight to our restaurants, where we add warm butter or chilled mayo with a squeeze of lemon, and pile it on a toasted split-top roll, just like it's been done for nearly a century. That's the recipe for Mason's famous lobster rolls.
What's been going on?
We're both dealing with a lot of guilt right now.
Can't sleep, can't eat. You see that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe? We only paid $4 for it.
Looks like we're out of time. Breathing exercises. Inhale, exhale.
Enjoy the new car.
Okay, thanks.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Get a Hyundai Santa Fe with 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or get $3,500 bonus cash. Hurry in.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Year 2 is in the books for the Jacksonville Armada women's under-23 squad, taking another step forward in the Women's Premier Soccer League. Under the guidance of head coach David Goff, the girls in blue went undefeated at home for a second straight season, including a dramatic draw in the opener.
And they've left it to the death. Unbelievable stuff.
And a late winner to end the season at home.
Headed on. Here's a chance. Gianna Ramirez brings it down, still alive, takes a shot, and into the back of the net.
After fielding a younger roster in 2025 with talent from all across Northeast Florida, the future is bright for the Armada women's team. We highlight the ladies and all things Jacksonville Armada each week on Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent Austen show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man. It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at jacksonvilleicemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show. Going to hold it down for the last little segment here, and then in the 12 o'clock hour, I think it's Brent and Hamby are going to have a special year in review of just the past year of things that have happened. Didn't invite me to be on that show because I'm sure I would have been insufferable, because we can play the greatest hits of, hey, remember when I called that the Chiefs and Eagles were going to go to the Super Bowl and the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl? I would have brought that up. Would have brought me and Casey having the comeback of all comebacks, a generational run in terms of the team picks and everything. Like, hey, I have plenty of memories. I'm sure nobody wants to hear about them, so it's all good. But before I do go, and one of the things that sticks out to me, because once again, this is me just flying by the seat of my pants, don't really write things down, just kind of let the conversation go where it will. And one thing that I think about in terms of the year of review would be Brent Martineau's article about, bringing in a guy like Tony Baselli and kind of formatting it much like the Detroit Lions, who now aren't in really the realms of a great football team, but were kind of the toast of the town, it seemed like, last year, and I feel like one of the favorites, despite all the injuries, to go to the Super Bowl. And I remember a conversation that I had off of Brent's article was, quote-unquote, the pillar conversation. And what I meant by that was, yes, you do bring in guys that have history with the Detroit Lions to run the organization and everything, a la Tony Baselli, but something that the Lions had as well is they had their pillars. And I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, I mentioned like Penei Sewell was the pillar, Jared Goff was the pillar, Amon-Ra St. Brown was the pillar. And surprise, surprise, they all got paid. Right? As pillars should. And now when I say pillars, like, what do I mean by pillars? I mean guys that are the foundation of your culture, guys that are the foundation of your team, and guys that not only are the foundation, but can obviously back it up on the field as well. And I think when you look at Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, when they're all healthy, they do that. So then this was a conversation that Casey Kurtz and I had, I think this is during the preseason or whatever, like, who are the Jaguars' pillars? And, thankfully to my elephant memory, as Brent likes to say, or my elephant brain, which I still don't understand the phrase. I guess elephants have a great memory, but how do you know, though? Right? Like, you can watch a video of an octopus getting outside of a jar and finding his way, and it's like, yeah, octopuses are pretty smart. Never seen elephants do anything. I've seen elephants eat peanuts. I've seen elephants splash water on themselves, and that's it. But nevertheless, they say have an elephant brain. Well, I remember what the conversation was in terms of who we thought the Jaguars' pillars were going into the season. And it was obviously Trevor Lawrence, and guess what? Trevor Lawrence going forward, that's your pillar, right? He's getting paid like it. He's a leader of the locker room. Everyone speaks his praises now. He's finally starting to be the quarterback that everybody envisioned when he was drafted. Boom, that's your pillar. Also, we have, I feel like, Josh Hines-Allen. Now, yeah, quarterback sack numbers. Will he ever get 17.5 sacks a season again? We'll see. But at the end of the day, in terms of defensive linemen that you trust the most right now on this team, and I think guys that you trust most in this team, Josh Hines-Allen fits that mold. So we were right about Josh Hines-Allen. I remember Casey and I said Brian Thomas Jr. because how could you not? Going forward, before they get Travis Hunter and everything, that was your wide receiver. That was supposed to be Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy. Well, that has kind of fallen by the wayside. Like, we can't call Brian Thomas Jr. a pillar anymore, unfortunately. Now, is he still an intricate part of this offense? Is he the deep threat? Sure. But anybody, regardless of how much stock you have in Brian Thomas Jr., will tell you that he's regressed this year. So I think he's off the list. Another guy that I remember made honorable mention going into the season once again, not based off what we know now, is Walker Little. Walker Little, I feel like there was some intrigue, right? Like he's shown some promise. Maybe he got paid for a reason, got paid at the wrong time. You don't lose to Detroit by 50 and then decide to pay a guy, but here we are. He's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. So then this begs the question, and this isn't, I get it. We got playoffs to talk about coming up and everything, and that's the excitement. But usually in December, we're having the conversation of, okay, who are the Jaguars drafting? What are those draft needs? What do we need? Those days are gone. So now we can sit here and say, well, if I'm James Gladstone, who do we need to resign? Who are the guys in the locker room that are the pillars? And who do we really need to base this team off of going forward? Because, listen, it's been a fun year. And we'll see how it all shakes out in the end, right? They've exceeded every single expectation. And even though they've done that, a lot of people, including myself, think that theoretically there could be a run to a Super Bowl. Like, it's that wide open. So, yeah, let's keep on dreaming, let's keep on hoping, and let's see what happens. But going forward, every season's different, right? And we've seen with the Jaguars before, when you have that first-year coach, there's been some great success, and then the second year, it kind of falls by the wayside. Not saying that Liam Coen's that's gonna happen to him, just saying that's kind of the way that it's been here the past decade or so. So then if that's the conversation of, okay, well, are you worried about, having this shot in the dark first season, achieving every single expectation? Well, then how do you come out the next year and maintain, right? How do you become a team like, whether it's the Bills winning all their divisions, championships, year after year, whether it's the Chiefs, whether it's the Eagles, like, how do you become a team that is essentially a toast of your division where every single year, chalk it up to the Jaguars, right? And I get it. The Houston Texans are a great team too, so you're always going to be button heads with them. But how do you keep that consistency? How do you avoid yourselves from being a flash in the pan? And this is what it comes back down to. It comes around to your pillars. So if I'm naming the pillars right now, this Jacksonville Jaguars team, and I see the chat too, and feel free to give me some names as well. Foye Oluokun, it's crazy because I agree with you, Mr. Hugo, but theoretically, how long is Foye Oluokun going to be here? Like, are they going to, I forgot how many years he got left on his contract, but like, do you see them bringing him back again? Right? Do you see them bringing back Devin Lloyd? Because the Devin Lloyd has made himself a lot of money this year. And one could say, set aside from, maybe Josh Hines-Allen, Devin Lloyd might be the most important piece right now on this defense. From turnovers, from winning football games against the Chiefs, like, that guy's played a monumental role this season. And yes, sometimes you're in the right spot at the right time, but you still have to have the skill set to catch the ball, the wherewithal to follow the quarterback's eyes, to get interceptions. And Lloyd has done that. Oh, and by the way, in terms of blitzing and setting games, well, this is where Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker can thank Devin Lloyd as well for setting those picks, for getting those quarterback sacks. So I think that Devin Lloyd, even though he's going to command a lot of money and it's probably going to be too much to franchise tag, I think that guy could be considered a pillar. And guess what? He may not even be here next year. I think Travis Etienne is a pillar. And I get it. I've saying those praises a lot. Pay the man, right? Yes, it's a volatile position. You've drafted Tootin. You've drafted LaQuinn Allen. Like, I think there's more positions that you would be worried about if a starter was to go. But I think what he means to this team, obviously what he means to Trevor Lawrence, former teammate and everything, I think Travis Etienne is considered a pillar. And if that's the case, then do you try to find a way to bring him back? Whether it's the franchise tag, whether it's a new deal, do you bring him back? Do we have the conversation about Cole Van Lannon? Has been nothing short of, and I know Brent hates this word, but I think he's been great the past couple of weeks. Didn't have his 100% grading out game, I feel like, against the Colts. Dude was still probably the best offensive lineman that showcased his skills against the Colts, though. Do you make him a pillar? Do you pay him? Like, but we're in such uncharted territory now because every single year it's been with Balky, who he drafting, who has the long arms, all this stuff. That's not the narrative anymore. Like, the draft is honestly secondary. And maybe this is what, it is to be a Chiefs fan every single year when they were winning. Maybe this is what it is to be a Patriots fan when they had their dynasty. Maybe this is what it means to be an Eagles fan, even though I feel like every single year the Eagles make some sort of splash in the NFL draft, whether they're trading for people like A.J. Brown or they're getting Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Like, they're always still making their splashes. But, like, the draft is secondary now. I feel like what the focus has to be is, which guys are you bringing back? Which guys are you going to go, we can win with this dude? Like, we need this guy here. And the one problem about it is that when you're winning or when you're losing, it's the same thing. It's a revolving door. The team doesn't stay the same. Either you're winning because you have great players, and some of those great players go on to make a lot more money on other teams, or you're a bad team and you got to tear it all down and build it back up again. Well, it's not that anymore. Now it's like, who do you keep? So if you're asking me, and I've been pretty clear, if you've been listening to the show the past year, I feel like, I think you have to pay Travis Etienne. Now, whether that looks like a franchise tag or that looks like a 2 or 3 year contract, I think he's earned his money. And I understand that you drafted Tootin and you drafted LaQuinn Allen, and maybe it's not necessarily the position of need, but I think Travis Etienne has been more important than anybody this year in this offense. I think he's been the most consistent thing, and I think when you have consistent things like that, you take care of them. Parker Washington, who I believe still has another year left on his contract, do you re-up on him right now, or do you let him play out his final year of his contract, maybe blows the doors off, and now all of a sudden he's going to command a lot more money? Because the wide receiver position is going up. And could you consider Parker Washington a pillar? This is a guy who's done everything by the book, who's just waited for his opportunity to shine. Every single year in training camp, Parker Washington, training camp darling, as Brent would say. Training camp darling, Parker Washington. Well, now he's finally getting his just due. And it's because some other guys, weren't maybe holding the rope like they should have, like Brian Thomas Jr. And then Travis Hunter goes out and Park Washington has to step in. That guy's been, when he's been called upon, he's been great. And I understand he had, some of the drops earlier on the season. Right now, I feel like if the Jaguars want to make a Super Bowl run, Parker Washington's going to have something to do with it. So what do you do with him? Is he a pillar? Do you pay him right now? Do you let his contract play out and see what happens? That's another guy. I just said, Cole Van Lanen. Probably been your best offensive lineman since he's been inserted at left tackle. What do you do with him? Is he a pillar? Do you pay him right now? Do you let his price go up towards the end of the season? Like, these are great problems to have, but they're still problems. And there's still problems, I feel like, that you have to hit the right button to have your future success. So, do you pay Cole Van Lanen? Do you pay Devin Lloyd? Like, you can't make everybody happy. And you probably can't keep everybody. So, that to me, like, listen, I'm on the right now, as Liam Coen would say, it's all about cleats. I get it. You're focused on Tennessee right now. We're all focused on Tennessee right now. Big divisional game. Guarantees you the home field advantage, at least for one playoff game, if you beat the Titans. That's the focus right now. And then after that, then hopefully you get to play another playoff game in Jacksonville. We're partying. Bring on the Bills Mafia and their tables or the Chargers or whoever it is. We can focus on that. I'm just trying to look ahead a little bit, though, because the biggest thing now is that you've had the success. You got to maintain success. So I'm just waiting to see what the plan's going to be. Are you going to pay some more people? Who are your pillars? By the way, Trayvon Walker, throw it on another category of pillar. I sang his praises earlier on in the show, and I sang his praises last night on Jaguars Happy Hour. A lot of the run being stopped against the Colts was predicated off of Trayvon Walker doing the dirty work. And it's not going to show up in the box score, and it's not going to show up with a lot of tackles for loss or quarterback sacks, even though he had one because it was a coverage sack. But it shows up on film. That guy could be a pillar going forward. I think he is a pillar going forward. He's starting to be more of a vocal leader too, right? We all heard him say, if you're not with us, then bleep you or whatever. I love it. Attitude. Do you eventually re-sign him? Is that one of your pillars? These are great problems to have, everybody, but they're still problems. So I'm really curious to see how James Gladstone and company, works this. Because, by the way, when we started the season with this exercise, we had Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Josh Hines-Allen, and maybe Walker Little. And I think we had an honorable mention for Foyle Lukin as well. Now look at it. You got guys all around this roster that you consider pillars, that you consider foundation guys that you need going forward. So time will tell what's going to happen. Chandler, before we go, you got any thoughts about pillars or foundation guys? I mean, I probably could include you in the conversation too as well, man. That's my bad. It's weird because, like, I've never met you before, and they just throw us together to run a show. It's like, I'm the starting quarterback, and here's a receiver I've never heard of before. But you got any thoughts before we head out of here, man?
I mean, I think we should 100% pay Parker. I mean, I think that might be number one, maybe number two, but he's definitely up there. Look what he's done all season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last 2 weeks, he's really been the best receiver we've had.
Yeah.
If you look at the stat line, so I really do think Parker's up there. Trayvon Walker, I agree with you on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
ETN for sure, because he's had a great season. We were going in like it was Bigsby and ETN.
Yeah,
right. And we're like,
and take Bigsby as an afterthought now, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then look what he's done. He's really shocked all of us. You could say. So I think them three, I really do like.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the beauty of the conversation. Then we'll get ready to go here. But the beauty is, man, we don't have to worry about it until after the season, right? Like I said, they're good problems to have, but they're still problems. But hey, James Gladstone and company, they'll all cross that bridge when they get to it. Right now, it's on to Tennessee, and right now, it's on to the playoffs. And right now, it's me and Chandler getting out of here, man. Enjoy. I think it's going to be kind of like a year in review featuring Brent Martineau and Jason Hamby. Pushing all the right buttons, man. I appreciate you. Hey, it was a pleasure to meet you. I'm sure I'll get your, your last name when I leave the studio and everything. But I appreciate you helping out, man. For Brent Martineau, for Jason Hamby, for Casey Kurtz, I'm Austen Lane. Y'all have a great and safe New Year. Keep it casual. Keep it safe. And, we'll check you out when the ball drops. Peace.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Happy 2026, everyone, as we welcome in the new year this week here in Jacksonville and all over the place. Hope everyone had a good 2025. And so for the next hour, we're going to talk about 2025 here in Jacksonville and the local sports world, which will be dominated, of course, by Jaguars talk. What else is new? It's been an unbelievable year in Jacksonville, going all the way back to a huge January. But we'll mix in some other things as well on the show, like changes at the University of Florida. Staying put at Florida State. Is Miami here to stay? And we know the Georgia Bulldogs are. So we'll do some college football. It really is Lane Kiffin's world we're all living in. And then some other things like the Players' Championship. And what about the Jacksonville Icemen recently went on strike? That was short-lived. Not just the Icemen, by the way, the ECHL. And from Reigns winning a state championship to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp and the departure of Matthew Driscoll as well at the University of North Florida. And probably a lot of things in between that we will miss when you do these things. We used to do an hour show on Action Sports Jax Primetime each and every end of the year and highlight the whole thing. And quite frankly, I got a little bit too busy to do that every single year. So now we do this here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby. And hope everybody is having a good holiday season. One note for us, we are about to celebrate year 2 of the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network in February. So we've made it thus far. I used to think these kind of projects would last about 8 to 18 months. On the radio, we lasted about 5 years until we made the shift. We made it, by the way. They didn't cancel us, so that was good. And now we've got this thing cooking and going in the right direction, at least we think. We'll see what 2026 brings. All right, Hamby, you had a big 2025. Personally, you got married. How about that? Congratulations. You've actually survived the first year of marriage so far.
So far, yeah. It's a huge year for the Hambies for sure. But the Jags are making it a whole lot better.
Yeah, Coach Hamby made it to the playoffs.
That's
in
right.
Baseball.
Won a district championship.
How about that?
Yep.
Going to be bigger and better in 26 or what?
We should be. We should be.
All right. Are you a big New Year's guy to begin with? Because quite frankly, as we sit here and do this show, I can tell you that I am not. Like, I'm not really like, oh, I'm going to set New Year's resolutions for 2026 and wait until 2026 happens. And I don't even really reflect on 2025, usually unless I'm just doing my finances or accounting or something at home and trying to figure out, okay, where were we last year? Where are we this year? But, I mean, I guess it is fun to kind of relive or look ahead. Honestly, I just don't do a lot of it. And I've never been a big New Year's guy. Like, I have no desire to ever go to, like, New York City or a big get-together.
Zero.
For New Year's Eve and be amongst the mass of people. But by the way, there are a lot of people that absolutely love it, and God bless you if you do. But it doesn't really do a whole lot for me.
I will be at 11:59. I will hopefully be celebrating a Georgia win and going into the semifinal, although it will never top the game against Ohio State a few years back where the missed kick happened right at midnight. Hopefully we'll get something similar.
That was right at midnight?
It was right as the clock was ticking down.
How about that?
Incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, we'll. I think most of us will be doing similar things and acknowledging the turn of another year. So, all right, let's talk about really the Jags to start. Why not? And what a year. What a turn, right? And look at you putting this all on a big graphic for us. And you start with the shod pivot. Because to me, it will go down now as one of the biggest things that's ever happened in the history of this franchise. You know, he was criticized for keeping Trent Baalke upon firing Doug Peterson, and rightfully so criticized, by the way. It should have been a clean sweep. We knew it should have been a clean sweep. For some reason, he kept Trent Baalke on board. He tried to explain it in terms of how it upsets the whole infrastructure of your building. Well, and the reality of it is the infrastructure of your building needed to be upset. And the whole Liam Coen thing, Didn't get Ben Johnson, or who knows where that was going, but Liam Coen goes back to Tampa, and then it hit Shad like, wait a minute, this is what we got to do. And so I give Shad a lot of credit because as a billionaire, be able to admit mistake, I think is a big step, and to be able to realize it in real time. Now, maybe he was being told it and everything else, and maybe he was being a little stubborn. Who really knows the true story of all that? And few people of that nature will admit exactly what it was. Liam Coen has even said it wasn't all bulky. It had a lot to do with family and other things. But the reality is it happened. And when it happened, that opened the door, at least it seems, for Liam Coen to get back in the picture. And also don't miss the idea that Tony Baselli was a part of this. Mm-hmm. Tony Baselli helped find Liam Coen and James Gladstone. And the whole thing that triggered from whenever that day was, I want to say it was like January 22nd or something like that.
I think it was the 24th.
Was it? And, man, what a change. And it's really changed the trajectory now as we look at it. And we didn't know this was coming, but It's really changed the trajectory of this organization. And we might look back at it for years and years to come about that January of 2025.
Yeah, I think I'll always remember that Thursday night. We came back into the studio as soon as the news was, I guess, almost official, because it hadn't come out from the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it was being reported from all the insiders that Liam Coen was back in the MEC meeting. So I remember us coming here on that Thursday night and breaking that all down, and I think we were all excited. We were all excited right from the get-go because it meant everything was going to be new. And it showed change, like you said, from Shad Khan. Baselli, at that point, we knew was going to be involved. Hadn't become the EVP yet. But excitement through the air, for sure.
Yeah, and here's the deal, Hamby. Like, on all of that, let's just go with the Liam Coen part of this because he seemed to trigger all this. And I really think in hindsight, Liam Coen, in the way it went down, didn't sit well with Tampa folks. I think there's some legitimacy to Liam. Forget about bulky, forget about spurning Tampa, forget about doing it right. I think these things are hard. We've seen this before. We saw it with Billy Donovan one time, right, with the Orlando Magic and Florida Gators. And we've seen people have really tough decisions to make about their life. And it's a very public decision. And think about some of the decisions you made. I've had one early in my career I wrestled with where to go, Providence or Terre Haute, Indiana. I'll never forget it, man. And it was the biggest decision ever. And it still remains to me the hardest decision I think I've ever wrestled with. In hindsight, it seems kind of whatever. But I remember just stewing over that thing, man. Like, should I go back home and not be on all the time but be a part of sports, or should I go get reps like in Terre Haute, Indiana, right, and in this business? And that's not a public level. That's a very private thing. Nobody give a damn where Brent was going.
And Coen did it in about 36 hours.
And Coen had to do it quick, and there's a lot of money on the table, and there's also family. And at that time, like, he's told us a bit when we sat down with him, he was thinking, like, I had moved my family, like we have a young family, and I had moved my wife, like, all over the place. He had gone from Kentucky to L.A. to Kentucky to Tampa, and now he was going to move again. His dad had just moved to Tampa. They had just kind of settled in there. He had promised like a honeymoon this summer with his wife. They'd finally go on their honeymoon. So he had a lot of that going on as well. And I think people miss that side because it's just like bulky.
Right.
But I think there was a lot going on for a young guy having to make a big decision. And then it hit him like, holy cow, man, first of all, this is going to be a lot of money. This is an opportunity that just doesn't come along. And let's just say maybe Tampa's not playing as well this year because Liam Coen's not there. But let's just say Liam Coen and Tampa just didn't play that well because Baker Mayfield got hurt or they got hurt or things didn't happen. It might have been his chance. Yeah. Like, he might not have had that chance moving on. So I get the angst of it, but I also get the reality of it. I think it's a very difficult decision. And I think it almost fits Liam if you look at this year. He's like, I'm going to do what's best, and I'm going to do it my way. And, everybody else can react the way they want to react. From that to the Duval to Robert Saleh to Sean Payton. Like, he doesn't really, in a way, care about what you think. And he's taken on that whole kind of mantra and personality here with this football team. in the right place, because for all that kind of stuff, Jacksonville is a hell of a fit for a guy like Liam Coen. And I actually think other people on this team, on the coaching staff, but also on this football team in general, that fit that same way. And I think in part, as a little underbelly there of why this has really worked so far this year, there are a lot of people in that same kind of headspace of, oh, you don't think it? Even Tony Baselli. People are like, oh, he just got the job because he's Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Right.
Well, he's really a smart guy and knows how to spin the organization and get it on the right track and had a plan, and he delivered the plan. And then there's James Gladstone, and I don't think he has a lot of those kind of qualities that we know about. He's 34 years old, and wow, smart guy. But I guess that leads us to the regime, man, because the regime's been pretty unbelievable so far.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, and they've kind of clicked on all cylinders, and it's one of those things where even the decisions are one thing, but just the look of it where, I mean, these guys look like best friends. I mean, when they're traveling, when they're on the field, pregame, postgame, I mean, Baselli's always with Gladstone and always dapping up Coen, and that's kind of the whole deal, and why this has been so successful, at least so we think, is, man, Coen could just coach, because these guys have really shouldered, especially Baselli, all of the things that he doesn't necessarily want to or necessarily shouldn't have to as a head coach, and you can tell the time that he's able to pour in offense, defense, special teams, because Baselli knows, as he watched for 2 decades since retiring, what it takes to be put in a good light as a head coach in Jacksonville. He knows what the GM needs to do, all of the struggles that the fans have brought up for 20, 30 years, and it all goes back to the continuity, the alignment that we heard from day one. And when you look back in review, 8, 9, 10 months later, it's an A+ as far as alignment is concerned.
No, it's absolutely A+, alignment, communication, transparency, all those things. Before we get to that part of it a little bit, one thought on Bulky, because, you know, obviously Doug Peterson, it's not going to work. It's going to go, like, he's going to get fired. The defense coordinator stuff didn't work. He really got stubborn on the play calling, and that didn't work. The development had stopped. As Shad Khan said, things got stale. That was the intel he got. But Trent Baalke is an interesting piece in all this, because it turns out the roster isn't bad. It started off 4-1. Jags got in kind of that spot where it's like, okay, they just got beat by the Rams big, and now they just lost to Houston, and they gave up 29 to the Raiders. Maybe in reality, the roster really isn't that good. And I'm not saying it's the most elite roster in the league, but I think it turns out that with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of whatever else it takes inside a building, that this roster isn't bad. I mean, you can't be bad and win in the NFL, right? So it wasn't a 4-win team. We knew that. And so that's where Baalke gets the better side of this in many respects, for whatever that's worth. Where Baalke failed is where we're seeing Baselli and Gladstone and Coen really thrive. And that is the relationships. That is, it doesn't have to be so rigid and cold and everything else in a building. It can feel good to go to work every day. And Trent Baalke really struggled in that. That's not his, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's kind of that cold, I do football and that's about all I do. I'm not worried about having a conversation with anybody. Well, that splinters, and that's hard. That's not going to last. And I think if you look at his NFL career, I think that's hurt him. So I think it hurt him here, and I think it set a bad tone in the building, especially when you lose. Bottom line is, first couple of years was fine because they were winning. As soon as it started to lose, that starts to bubble, and then you can't get out of that. And I think that's where he really failed. I don't know if he could fix that, though, because I don't think it was his personality or his MO. He's an old-school football guy. And quite frankly, we've seen guys like Tom Coughlin not necessarily thrive in that kind of world, where it's like you got to adapt to this new age where those relationships really matter. How it feels walking in the building really matters. This isn't 30 years ago. So I think it's that part is interesting. And that, to me, is where Tony Baselli has done a terrific job.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely a terrific job. And that's under the radar. You would have to talk to people that work there. You would have to kind of know the ins and outs, and most people don't. And most people really don't care. But I'm telling you, that part of the underbelly of things is one of the reasons this thing's turned around. And what changed for me, Hamby, really the big turnaround. We wrote the article, right? This famous article that we call it famous. It's not really that famous. But about Baselli and trying to do what the Detroit Lions did. And I really believed in that. And the Jags finally got to that, which was cool. But I thought one of the big things, and I don't have it in front of me, I should have. If you go back and look at the press release when Tony Baselli was hired as the EVP of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the way they described what he was going to do, I thought was spot on. Now, did I know that they would be able to do it that way? Nah, not sure, because who knows who you're going to get as a coach and how they want to set it up. It's still going to be pretty coach-centric. But I love how they set it up to be like, hey, you're going to do a little bit of everything.
I got it here.
And to me, that the idea of that is really where they nailed this thing, because that's what the job should be. It shouldn't be, hey, he's going to have the final word on players. No, that's the GM's job. He's not going to be in team meetings and say, we're running this scheme and running this and play. Well, nobody really does that other than the coach, right? He can be involved in so many different ways, where I've talked to Tony about this, where he gets in the building every day and doesn't really know exactly what he's going to run into, because he's the guy getting the call first, whether it's if I've got a problem in the media or somebody's got a problem in the lunchroom. And he takes that. This press release was taking that off the plate of the head coach, especially a first-time head coach at any level. And so I think, Hamby, they really set this up well to succeed and help two young guys that look very talented and are very bright in Liam Coen and James Gladstone with the role of Tony Baselli. And he could also help them feel what Jacksonville's all about, because he knows that better than anybody. So it was a great job of setting it up, and it seems like they've delivered on the way they set it up from the jump.
Yeah, just to read this quick paragraph from that press release, it says, in addition to his role on the football leadership unit, Baselli will be responsible for player engagement, football technology, football travel logistics, equipment, sports performance, team security, and football communications. Baselli will serve as the liaison between football operations and the business side of the Jaguars to ensure a unified and successful organization as a whole.
Well, in short, that means everything runs through Tony, right? And again, these are little things that you have to deal with. It doesn't seem in the big picture, but it can distract you from doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think the setup here, and to Hamby's point, the relationship that is real, that is genuine, it's authentic. These guys have really hit it off, and they didn't even know each other. You got a 34-year-old, now 35, 39-year-old, now 40, and a 52-year-old.
About as good as friends outside of like golf and buddies that you could possibly get.
It certainly appears that way, and at some point, will that splinter or will that change? Who knows? But right now, man, they're on the same page. There's another thing about this, one more about the regime, because I think it's so important. I sat down with Shad Khan in London, and one of the things that they learned is that they are going to come in each week. And, you know, when it's shot in the building or even not in the building, getting the report from the week, is whether it's good or bad, they are going to stay consistent with the way they approach what they're doing. And they go back to that as a basic, like a basic fundamental. And I think that really helped them in games like coming out of London against the Rams and that 2-game stretch, Seattle and L.A., and then, of course, against Houston, where they didn't panic, because the NFL panics. The NFL gets really tight sometimes, and they could have easily panicked, and they didn't. And I really thought those moments were huge moments for this regime, especially as it turns out. Well, then James Gladstone makes the big move, and that is Travis Hunter, and he becomes the story, right? After drafting Travis Hunter, very bold move, what they said about him, how he's going to change the game, and couldn't be more excited about the idea of all this. You talk about bold and doing something a little bit different.
Change the game.
I love the idea of this still, because I'm not going to sit here and just be revisionist history and say, well, he only played 8 games and then this, and they gave up this. And no, this organization back in April needed something like this. They needed to be bold. They needed to take a chance. They needed to do that to pivot this thing. And they also needed the juice of Travis Hunter. Yeah. And he brought that. They needed juice in the building. It was the word of the offseason to me, is juice. Mm-hmm. Trevor said it. Everybody said it. They brought it with a guy like Hunter. Now, it hasn't delivered on the field yet, but it also makes you intrigued about where the future is, because you might have a blue chip kind of player still waiting there for you next year if you can figure it out. And that's going to be the big part of this, Amby. Can you figure out Travis Hunter? It will be the story of the offseason no matter how this thing ends for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, it was the story of this previous offseason because it was, something that's never really been done or hadn't been done in a really, really long time in the NFL, playing both sides of the football. And then, like you said, it'll be the story of the offseason this year. And it's almost ironic because you gave up your first-round pick to get him, and all of the conversation in April and May was, well, did you give up too much? What's it going to look like? And the irony of it is now you're way better as a team than you thought you were, and it's going to feel like you're getting a first-round pick next year. It's going to feel like you got the number 2 overall pick after you won 13 freaking games.
Yeah.
How rare is that? That's something that's, not a whole lot of teams could ever really say, or at least look forward to in an offseason like this. And, obviously the injury puts a damper on so much that you really wish wouldn't have happened, because he was really, for a couple of weeks there, the only bright spot, especially coming back from London, and looked like there was so much promise there in a relationship that was starting to prosper between he and Trevor Lawrence. Where does that go next year, and where does he play? What percentage of the injury? A lot of that will be, like you said, revisionist, and you look back, and like we're doing right now, what does that say about James Gladstone? I think all that matters is if you ask James Gladstone right now if he would do it again, he'd say 100 times out of 100.
That'd be an interesting question for him. I haven't asked him that, and maybe we will ask him that. And I'm sure he would say that, and that's probably the right answer, too. But the reality is, for Gladstone in that draft, there's still a lot to learn and gain. But he said he was going to raise the floor, and they found that. He said he was going to find players that are intangibly rich. They found that with players like Matt Dickerson and B.J. Green and Danny Strigo and those kind of players. And so if you can win with that level, can you figure out trying to get Hunter as a blue chipper, hopefully, and figure what he's doing out for the next 3 years, or at least for 2026? So there's a lot of upside, but there's also a lot of curiosity there, because this is a team that really is playing good football without him.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't be the same with him, because Jakobi Meyers helped change this football team. And I do think, and this isn't a knock on Travis Hunter, I just think the idea that you didn't have to worry about how many snaps on offense, how many snaps on defense, what's he doing, like that part of the plan you just pushed aside because you didn't have to worry about it anymore. Now you focused on whatever else and maybe deep dive in how to figure things out. It made the Jags reinvent themselves coming out of the bye week, even though they had a short time to do it because it was late in that practice week that he got injured. They had to reinvent themselves, and part of the reinventing was maybe getting Parker Washington more involved, but also going to get Jakobi Meyers, right? And trying to figure out Brian Thomas Jr. or getting to the run game coming out of the bye and working off the run, and then eventually getting Trevor super comfortable to get where we got. So there's so many different dominoes, and that's what I love about seasons like this, because when you have bad seasons, you just poke at all the bad stuff. When you have seasons like this, you can start to really highlight how things changed in a positive way, even on negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jags got off to a good start to this season, better than anybody thought. We thought 2-3 keeps you in the dance, right? Because keep in mind, the idea of this football season was to just be in the mix in December.
Mm-hmm.
Get to 9 wins if you could, and maybe that's good enough for a wild card. Maybe you win one late, you get to 10 with a win over Tennessee.
Because we definitely didn't think the Texans would be doing what they're doing either.
No.
So 9-10 wins was going to win the division, or so we thought.
We thought 10 wins would win the division. That's been a comfortable number over the years. And you also think at 10 wins, you're in the mix at least for a wild card.
Right.
10 wins ain't good enough this year, which is crazy, but it's not. So that's what we thought. Well, they got off to a 4-1 start. It's crazy. Right? Just absolutely crazy, including the Monday Night Football win on the road at San Francisco. And in the one loss, they got screwed on. They screwed themselves a bit, too, because they didn't play well. Brian Thomas Jr. dropped a bunch of passes. De'Ami Brown dropped. They should have beat the Bengals bad, or at least comfortably. And then they get screwed on a Travis Hunter good play call, and they lose the game. And they give up that whole drive, But
another backup quarterback.
To another backup quarterback with Burrow out. But they do beat San Francisco. They win the big Monday night game. And they're 4-1 out of the gates, which is just an unbelievable start. Changes people's expectations. You come down to earth a little bit with the 2 losses to Seattle and the Rams. But I always thought it was pretty important here, Hamby, that they never got behind the sticks in the win-loss column.
Sure.
Right? They stayed ahead. It was 4-3, and they got the big win over the Raiders. That game they could have lost. They had the bad football being played. They had guys that were injured, and then on top of that, the news of Travis Hunter, and they found a way to beat the Raiders. And I think that 2-point conversion, figuring that out, is going to be one of the biggest plays of the season that I don't think people will talk about because they're like, well, it's the Raiders. You should have beat them.
Right.
It's like, well, you could have lost to them.
Very easily. It was a wide-open receiver.
It was a wide-open. Devon Hamilton, in many respects, saved the season, at least for the time being, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even, when you look back and, the Texans struggled with the Raiders, right? And then you look back and, what was the receiving core that the Jaguars trotted out there? Well, it was Tim Jones being elevated from the practice in Austin Trammell. And, De'Ami Brown at that point was not really much of a factor. And BTJ was hampered. He was probably playing at 70% in that game with the shoulder and then the ankle late in the fourth quarter and in overtime. And that was one of his better games, but that wasn't a 100% BTJ. And with everybody else, the Raiders could have, and I think they did, double him a large part of the time. That was Trevor just outsmarting the Raiders defense. And I think when you look back at the resurgence of Trevor, which is our next thing on this list here, it is Jacoby Myers. It is just in general him growing in Liam Coen's system. But you can look back on that Raiders game and said, what else did he have? He just had to, for lack of a better term, sack up and win the game.
Yeah.
He just had to, and he did. And I wonder how much confidence he gained even in a game like that, with Max Crosby on the other side, knowing the tandem of receivers that was out there. No Britton Strange, right? It was Strange was not at that game. So, it was all on Trevor's shoulders, and he delivered.
Yeah, and by the way, I believe that the Jags started to come out of whatever this offensive malaise was and the clunkiness and the penalties and all that stuff. I actually think they started to show signs of it in London at Wembley, losing 35-7. I go back to that game because they were in Rams territory 8 times. 8 times in that football game, which means they drove the football pretty well. And they also, I think they lost turnover on downs 3 times. So my point is there was a little bit of evidence there, and then they refined things. They obviously put it together against the Raiders, and that starts this crazy run of scoring 25-plus in 7 straight games up until the Colts game. So, they found themselves a little bit there. Trevor in the run game out of the break, they scored 30 points, obviously, but he delivered clutch in that game, too, to score when they needed to score in the fourth quarter to get to overtime, and also in overtime to set the table. And then it was kind of like hold on for dear life with the defense, because that was a lull on defense over those weeks of trying to figure things out and like, maybe this defense just isn't very good. There was a reason why they were dead last year, because they were playing with a lot of those same guys, and the other guys were banged up.
Yeah, we're talking about the resurgence of Trevor. We can't go on without mentioning that it was a civil war for a couple of weeks. It was the title of a lot of our shows there in early October. Right before the Raiders game. Even the Texans, the loss. It was a couple
October,
of weeks.
Early November,
there. Yeah. It was literally splitting the fan base apart 50-50 on, is it time to move on, at least confidence-wise? Obviously, nobody believed that the Jags could or would move on from him, actually. But just as far as believing in him as the future franchise quarterback, the guy that we all drafted him to be, it was a split. And it is really nice to look back and say, there ain't no splitting anymore.
Yeah, there really isn't anymore. Let's do this. Let's hit a break so we stay on time. We're going to come back with the Trevor part because it's a huge part. And then where we are now, where the Jaguars are like Super Bowl contenders because they're in the dance and everybody's got a chance with this football season the way it is, and where are they going into 2026? And then we'll hit some of the college football and some of the big stories before we put a bow on it here in an hour of a year in review in 2025 on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar, grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right?
That's right.
So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Hey guys, we got a new player today. I hear he's pretty good.
Heard this guy played in the NFL.
I think he's an MMA fighter. I've actually been on his show, the Brent Austen Show.
Football and fighting, that's the easy part. Let's see if I still have it on the ice. What the heck, man? Who is this guy? He's saving everything.
Leave the hockey to the pros, man. It's hockey season. Come on out and see the Icemen play. Get your tickets at JacksonvilleIcemen.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back as we put a bow on 2025. We appreciate you hanging out with us all year and all the different things that we do as we continue to grow the network, get more folks involved, and hopefully you find the network on ActionSportsJax.com, Action News Jax app, Smart TV as well. Just download the Action News Jax Now app and then hit Action Sports Jax 24/7. So many ways to get us. And then, of course, you see us all over social media, and you can watch the shows on social media or see clips on social media. We know how everybody's consuming things. And, heck, don't forget about our podcast, because a record month of podcast listens last month, and we expect some big numbers once again. So that's just the audio. That comes out at 1:30 every day of our show and some of the other shows that we do. We'll probably keep adding to that, quite frankly. Admittedly, we probably don't pay enough attention to that part and could put some more stuff up there. So we'll continue to do it, continue to grow it, and hopefully you'll continue to follow along the way, because we have some big plans in 2026 and with what we're doing here at the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, from live broadcasts to other genres of shows as well. So make sure you stay tuned on that front. Hopefully we make it happen in 2026. But we appreciate here on the Brent and Austin Show for hanging out with us each and every day, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. The noon hour of the show here on this day, a couple of days before the new year, is talking about 2025, and a lot of it's on the Jags. We will get some other things, but let's finish up the Jags commentary about this season. We just ran through it for 25 minutes, but now we get to Trevor Lawrence and the resurgence of Trevor. Listen, this is not, I don't do this. I'm not like, hey, I told you so. I mean, once in a while I might say I told you so, but like, this doesn't feel like a win or anything like that right now. Maybe it should, but there was discourse. We said before the break, there was discourse on Trevor. There are people that had kind of given up on Trevor. I don't think people looked at it very logically on the Trevor front. I understand the frustration, and I understand the curiosity, and I understand the standard and all those things. I get where he's measured. But when you have as much change, and we did this throughout the year, we really dove into it, where you really have a Daniel Jones who's had the amount of change that Trevor Lawrence has, if you look at all the quarterbacks that you want to compare him to, or the people that are playing well. And that are in his kind of situation. Now, like the Darnolds and even the Baker Mayfields are a little bit of a different world because they're a bit older, so they've been through it a bit more. But if you take the Herberts of the world and the amount of change, or the Burrows and the Josh Allens, not as much as Trevor's had to deal with. And so I think that's what we're seeing. In reality, we're seeing a guy in year one of another offense and another coach, and not learning or trying to unlearn some things and learn some new things. And we're getting a guy that's playing really unbelievable football right now. And that's really all that matters. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, whatever else. What matters is he's playing unbelievable football. He's extremely talented. There's a lot of belief in him right now in this town. There's always been belief in the building for the most part, especially the locker room. I think there's also been some, all right, let's go. And now he's going. And now you see it. And now you know what's there. And it's an unbelievable thing to see. And we always have said this about Trevor. He's such a good face of the franchise. He loves Jacksonville. There's nobody better as a face of your franchise. There are a lot of good players around the league that are like that. But there's few that can handle it the way he does. He's handled the bad very well. And I think he's very comfortable in this role. And now I'm curious about where this gets him to next year and the year beyond. But now we can think about that in a very positive way, which is a great thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the resurgence of Trevor is real. Jacoby Myers was a big part of that. Myers maybe should be on this list because Hamby mentioned Myers, and that is going to turn out to be one of the biggest moves in NFL trade deadline history.
Yeah.
Not just Jags history, NFL trade deadline history. It will never be a blockbuster like, wow, they'll put it on every top 10 list. But if you really deep dive into people who have made an impact on a football team. Holy cow, is Jacoby Myers made that. And I don't think anybody saw this coming.
I mean, you
I
can
don't
make
even think the Jags could have hoped for this to happen.
Well, 100%. You can make an argument that, 30, 40 years, when you look back at Trevor's career, it's pre-Jacoby Myers and post-Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, and by the way, Hamby, that's a good point of this is where you say, has the organization always done right by Trevor? Are they getting the right people around him, from coaches to players? And I think my biggest defense of Trevor amidst the change was always, what does he trust? From Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson to Press Taylor to a new regime, what does he trust? Like, he'll say he trusts it, but I'm telling you, what does he wholeheartedly trust?
Mm-hmm.
If you really, like, break it down.
Well, it took 2 weeks.
He's not talking bad about any of those things. He's just saying, I'm just saying, what does he naturally, instinctually trust that it's going to go right? What about the offensive line? Well, there are times where you can really trust your offensive line. Then there are others like, holy cow, Seattle, the Rams, guys, can you block somebody? Right? Like, there are those moments. Receivers catch the ball. Like, really. So when you have that, this is really my big thought on Trevor, and I love that we're seeing it come to fruition this way with Myers and so many other things that are falling in place. When you don't trust it fully in life, it impacts you. When you don't trust it fully as a quarterback in the National Football League, it really impacts you because a split second of doubt makes you play a split second slow. And if you play a split second slow in this league, it's a pick or it's an incomplete pass. The league moves that fast. Watch it. Frame by frame, watch how fast it moves. And I think that's just the simple way to put, if you don't trust it all, then how do you play to your level of ability? And I think that's what we saw with Trevor through his down times. Sure, did we see some inaccuracies and working on footwork and other things too? Yeah, but I think the root of it was trust. And when Myers shows up on the field for whatever reason, guys don't know each other. But all of a sudden, he's got that trust level of like Christian Kirk and an Evan Ingram and a Zay Jones that we saw. Yeah, well, guess what? Myers elevates other people. Brenton Strange starts coming back. Brian Thomas Jr. starts playing better football. Oh, Parker Washington, it becomes a thing, right? It's a domino effect.
How long did it take, Brent, for Jacoby to be the most trusted receiver, perhaps, well, definitely since Kirk, but maybe
5 minutes.
Exactly.
Like literally
Insane.
5 minutes. They noticed it right on the field.
Yeah.
And they were stunned by it. They're like, wow, what is going on here? So it's amazing how much Jacoby Myers has made a difference, and I think that's a very good point. I think it's going to be a domino. But now what you're seeing, and we saw this even last night with Cam Little, if you listen to players, there's so much belief and appreciation in the quarterback right now. And they've known this. They've loved Trevor, but they obviously got to see it too. And they've known what he's had to battle through, but now they get to talk about it. And they're like, oh, see, this is what we always saw. This is what we always saw. I mean, Cam Little was just raving about Trevor yesterday, unsolicited. So I think these are all really good things because you want that kind of belief in your $275 million quarterback. Jags got it. Oh, by the way, they extended Jacoby Myers, too, as part of 2025, so he's a part of the future. And what does this football team look like going forward? We will see, from Etienne to Cole Van Landen to Brian Thomas Jr. We will see. But right now we know Trevor's playing damn good football. The league's talking about him. And when he's confident, he really can feel it. And hopefully that maintains through the playoffs. And that's why right now that last thing exists. The Jags are Super Bowl contenders because, quite frankly, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, Hamby.
That's right.
Like we said that one other time in his career, and they were, well, playoff contenders that year. I don't think they were Super Bowl contenders, but I think the reason they're Super Bowl contenders is because the league is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
The league doesn't have Mahomes and the Chiefs dominating or Brady and whoever else. And even these Josh Allen Buffalo Bills aren't as strong as they were the last few years. So it's wide open and pretty amazing to say it, but we kind of said it to ourselves yesterday on the show. The Jaguars, we think, are legitimate Super Bowl contenders to go win 3 games in January and see you in Santa Clara. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's okay to say that it could happen.
Yeah, and like we mentioned yesterday, I don't even think we were saying that in 2017.
No, we were.
Because,
that snuck up on us.
Yeah, it did sneak up, and then you looked at Brady, and you're like, well, I mean, no shot. And now you look at, well, I mean, Trevor, I think even the national folks would probably say that in the AFC right now, he's the second best quarterback behind Drake Maye. I mean, if you had to, right now, Trevor, the way he's played the last 4-6 weeks, nobody's playing better than him. Not Josh Allen, definitely not Bo Nix, not Aaron Rodgers, not C.J. Stroud. I mean, you go to not Lamar Jackson, although he's come back from an injury, not Herbert. The only one is Maye, and he's going to probably be right there with Stafford for the MVP.
Yeah, I think Maye is interesting. And here's the caveat to that. I would say then you ask the question, who will you take for the month of January? Josh Allen's going to be on the top of that list.
100%.
And then I think Trevor's ahead of Drake Maye on that list. Like, yeah, Drake Maye's played better, but I think people would sign up for Trevor in the playoffs because he's had it. He's been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And again, that's like semantics and all that. But, hey, bottom line is we can talk like this because the Jags are playing like this, and now we wait and see. And we'll wait and see in 2026. Again, Travis Hunter's going to be a big story. Their draft picks in general will be a big story. Jags are picking in the mid-20s now, so that trade with Cleveland doesn't look as bad. Will they want to get back in the first round? We'll find out. They'll have money to spend in free agency. How much will they spend? Again, this is a team that really is well put together. They have to be very careful to add and subtract to a team that really likes each other and plays well together and try to elevate it. I don't think they'll run it back, but they have to be those are going to be very dissected moves that can upset the domino effect of that. And so we'll see. I think that's now the next kind of phase of this once the season ends. All right, some other things to get to before we get out of here in 2025. College football. Let's go right down the list real quick. The Florida Gators make the move finally. A lot of people wanted them to make the move 2 years ago. Listen, the Billy Napier thing didn't work out. The DJ Lagway thing didn't work out, and I think that's just as big of the story. Is Lagway is supposed to be this stud player that's supposed to save coaches like Billy Napier. And whether it's Napier's fault, and in some respect it is, but also is DJ Lagway never fulfilling his potential. So that is a big part of the story. It's not just a Napier thing. I'll tell you what, though, I love the hire of Sumrall, and I think this is going to really – I like the early returns on Sumrall.
Yeah.
I like what he's all about. If I was a Florida Gator fan, and I'm not – I know I get accused of being one sometimes because I work in Jacksonville media,
awesome.
But I'm not.
Love it. Keep that up, guys.
I think they really got a good coach here, and I think he's got the goods. Like, and I guess maybe we could say this all the time. It always feels good when you get a new coach, right? You can pick out the good stuff.
Right.
But I'm telling you this again as not a guy that's like in the weeds on the Gators. And I really feel like this one might work out. I like what this guy's all about. And now the big thing is you got to make sure you get the OC right. And people think they did. And I know you have some history with them with the Georgia Bulldogs, and people really rave about him. But then you got to get the quarterback stuff right. I mean, the bottom line is now when you get the defensive guy or the leadership guy, you got to make sure you get the OC right, and you always got to get the quarterback right. So that's the next phase. But listen, the Gators have some good football players. I think the Gators can recruit good football players. That's not a problem. It's can they get the offense going with Sumrall at the helm?
Right. Well, I mean, obviously quarterback's the biggest one, but actually the first one for Sumrall and company is to retain Jaden Ball.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to do that.
And that's a tough task, but they're really trying. They're meeting with them even up to this week. So we'll see about that. And yeah, obviously the quarterback is next, whether it's a guy like Philo coming from Georgia Tech with Buster Faulkner. There's a ton of great or borderline college great quarterbacks in the transfer portal, even going up to like Josh Hoover, and you got a couple of guys in the Big 12, Raiola and stuff like that. Not that any of those guys are necessarily linked to Florida, but there are a lot of guys with college production. They're going to have to be able to take their pick. I would assume that they're going to be obviously at the top of the list for where these quarterbacks would want to go. Mensah from Duke is in there as well. Resclaff from Tulane coming over from Sumrall. So there's no excuse for, well, we didn't really have a lot of options. Florida's got all the options. They just got to get it right.
Yeah, they do. Meanwhile, let's bounce around. Florida State, they're stuck. And can Mike Norvell, I like Mike Norvell. I have liked it. It just hasn't worked. Right. And I'm a little surprised at how bad it's been. Actually, I'm a lot surprised. I think it should be better. They beat Alabama. And everybody's like, whoa, hey. And I'm like, yes, good. Because here, I like when all the teams are good. I don't root for anybody, but I like when they're good. Unbelievable how bad it's been, right?
A year review for them would be insane.
Oh, yeah.
Just a roller coaster.
So where are they? I have no idea. They feel stuck. Can he rescue it? Because it can change on a dime now, with literally a dime and then some in college football.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they got to find another quarterback, but they don't know if they can pay one to the extent that a Florida or the other teams, even in the ACC. I mean, they could have had Mensa last year, but think about that. Duke outbid them. I don't know if Florida State was in on them or not, but at the end of the day, they chose Castellanos. Duke paid for Mensa, and Duke, they didn't have all that great of the year, but at the end of the day, they won the ACC championship. Every FSU fan would have killed to go 8-5 and win an ACC championship.
Yeah, that is true. Now we go down to Miami. I feel like they're here, man. They know how to figure out the NIL thing. I think they can get people down there. They've got the talent. Cristobal's done a good job. Now, I don't know if they're going to win big and win national championships, but I do think them making the playoffs and being a part of this thing is another step. And it does feel like they've had two of the prized quarterbacks the last couple of years coming out of this whole NIL era. Right. Feels like they're going to get that guy. They have some tradition now of doing it. We'll see if they can find the next one. But I do feel like Miami's kind of here to stay. And now I question whether they can win it all and win big.
Yeah, I think if you look at the college football in general, the three biggest stories off the field is number one, Lane Kiffin of 2025. Yeah. Number two is honestly on a bad note, is probably Sharon Moore, just because of how surprising that was. And number three is probably just the playoff committee in general. They continue to be such a big story of how they choose and what they pick, and just Miami getting in is a huge part of this year over Notre Dame and over the group of five getting in there as well, but them saving their spot and then improving or at least vindicating the committee by winning and beating A&M was huge. Now they got to face Ohio State, the defending champs. That's a whole nother deal. But at least they feel like a team that is going to be in the game for sure. They're going to be in it with anybody. So we'll see.
I do think you mentioned big stories in college football. I think I'm stunned at how many coaching vacancies for big jobs there was, considering Lane Kiffin was really the only star of the class that people were chasing. I'm just stunned, from Penn State to obviously what happened at Michigan wasn't intentional at first for them to change coaches, or maybe they were going to anyway. But I'm just surprised by that, because once Kiffin was going to LSU, like, okay, who else are you getting? And so how late in the game, even a Penn State did their thing. The other thing is Cignetti and Indiana and what they're doing, right? Like, that is one of the monster stories of college sports and really sports. It's one of the few, I mean, it's like, it doesn't feel like Hoosiers because we're talking about $20 million to spend these days now, right? And everybody can do it. But in the same way, it feels like a Disney movie, that Indiana, and we'll see what they do. And I think that other thing to watch is Texas Tech, because have they just built a New York Yankees kind of system or a Dodgers kind of system where, hey, you can pay to play and win in college football? We're about to find a little bit of that out. They certainly can for a little bit, but can they win big is the point. So, and then there's one other facet, and sure, Georgia Bulldogs really, and I said this to
the team that withstands it all.
Josh Brooks, their AD. I said this at the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame luncheon. I was, and it wasn't their AD, it was their SIDs. So their assistant ADs. Those guys are great over there at Georgia. And I said, it's such an advantage for a school like Georgia to know they've got Kirby Smart and they've got their guy and they've already built everything underneath it, that they don't have to pivot in this era and figure out, oh, Mike Norvell, really good in the transfer portal. Oops, really bad. Florida, NIL money, we don't have it in order. Oh, let's go get it in order.
Right.
Or are you Texas Tech? Or are you Indiana? Are you well, no, they're Georgia. And they can be Georgia even in this era. And now they got to get those things going. But that's like just the next domino that falls. And it's an easier adjustment for a school like Georgia because of their programs already built.
No, it's 100% an advantage. And really what you got to, the credit for that really should just go to Kirby Smart for being able to adapt from a guy who really wanted to only really focus on high school to, we have to incorporate the transfer portal, but we're not going to live and die by it. And I think what you've seen so far in the transfer portal era is no coach has done it like Kirby. Maybe Ryan Day has gone a little bit further into the transfer portal than a guy like Kirby Smart has, but both have maneuvered it so well.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some other quick things that happened, and that was obviously a lot of football. Rory McIlroy won the Players' Championship for a second time, and then he went to complete the Grand Slam with his Masters victory. So monkey off his back. The golf world's still in flux, even up till late in the year, where Brooks Koepka is now out of LIV. Does that mean he will come back to the PGA Tour? Will he have to sit out a year? There's a lot going on in 2026 around that. Scottie Scheffler still owns the world of golf. Essentially, he had another monster year. And by the way, Tiger Woods turns 50 years old today, so it makes him eligible for the Champions Tour. In golf, USA got beat on the home turf in Ryder Cup, and it was a rowdy crowd, which was expected at Bethpage Black to tie into some of the golf. How about the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp? I thought that was a really cool story this year. And, we don't go and cover the Shrimp on a daily basis. We talk about them from time to time, have some interviews. But the fact that they won a championship here in Jacksonville was really cool, and how that all unfolded. And that was a fun few days to cover the AAA championship. Reigns wins a state championship. Covered that one front to back. Did specials here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, and their 4th state title. Feels like it's still being celebrated. Along with, we're really proud of all our high school football coverage from the year, which you can always go back and check out and see. We did more than we've ever done. And my guess is we'll even keep expanding that when it comes to high school sports in general in 2026. The Jacksonville Icemen, we talk about so much. They're off to a somewhat slow start to 2025, 2026. Hopefully they turn the corner in 26. A brief stalemate, really a strike in the ECHL. Now that's over, so we will have hockey. In fact, the Icemen are home on January 3rd. That will be their next home game, so get on out to the arena and watch the Icemen, and we'll be talking about the Icemen quite a bit in the new year. The Upshot League, new team in Jacksonville, so they have arrived for women's basketball, and we'll be having a conversation about that as they open up play in May of 2026. And then a shout-out to our good friend Matthew Driscoll, who moved on at the University of North Florida. He is now at Kansas State as an assistant after a heck of a tenure here at the University of North Florida. Of course, we do a lot of UNF Ospreys talk with Talent Talk each and every Tuesday, another show we added this year on the network. Bobby Kennan and the Ospreys struggling a bit in the win-loss column, but ASUN play is about to begin on the New Year Day as they will be on the road at Austin P. Check out UNFOspreys.com for more of that. All right, so I know we missed a ton of different things, but I hope you had a great 2025. And on to 2026 we go with the Jaguars fever at an all-time high. Well, maybe not an all-time, but definitely at a fever pitch. And we'll be covering every step of the way with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thanks for hanging out with us each and every day here on the Brent Austin Show and on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, we have what you need.
Get a Moto Guzzi Stone Corsa for just $235 a month, or a Triumph Trident for as low as $207 a month, or the popular Honda Rebel 1100 DCT starting at a low $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from all of our great brands, only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day. Just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I wanted to play in the NFL.
Cuts it back to her left side, takes a shot, and into the back of the net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh, my goodness.
What a pass. Say he doesn't make a tackle, you still feel like his presence is felt in every single play.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjacks.com.